How about now?
Let me know when you guys can hear me. So testing, testing, testing.
Yes.
Yay, we got a winner.
All right.
All right, good morning. Let me start this. I'm sorry you got here twice.
That's all right.
Wow.
That's okay.
But I will tell you, it smells fabulous in this room. We have Miranda Woods with the Mo Man that's here sponsoring us this
The old
morning.
woman.
Sorry, the Mo Woman. Well, that's a good thing or a bad thing. But
So if you
anyway.
look at our card upside down, it has the
It says-
Wonder Woman symbol.
Yeah.
And so there's lots of jokes that he's an old man and I'm Wonder Woman.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So really quick, if you're online, please put your name, license number, telephone number, and email address so we can get you credit for the today's CE. And as per regulation, you have to be online for the entire duration. So if you logged off during break and think you'll get the credit, you're not. So I just want to let you know, we do request you to put that information up front and also between breaks and before you log off today, okay? And there's also going to be a poll as well. So without further ado, for those of you that are not here, I'm telling you, it smells fabulous. And one, thank you, Miranda. So I'm going to hand the mic to you so you can chat and talk about your business.
Awesome, thank you
We
so much.
appreciate it.
As y'all know, I'm Miranda Wood. The joke's that I'm Wonder Woman. My husband's the old man. I do all of the office stuff and marketing and sales, and he does everything in field. So he really is the mold man. He
Yeah.
manages crews and gets the work done. And so what we do is we help mold not be a four-letter word for our real estate partners. You know, it's now just another word in the dictionary, because if you have mold or an issue with your crawl space or encapsulation, or you need a fan or sump pump, or those things in that crawl space area come up on a home inspection, you give us a call and one of us will go out and we'll take a look and give you a free quote and scope of work so that you know what's going on and you can protect your clients, whether that's your seller or your buyer. So if you have a listing come up and you're like, ooh, I don't know if this situation that might be mold or a crawl space issue is going to give us any hangups when we are taking offers, you can go ahead and have us come take a look and even do work before you have that offer to make sure that that house is ready to get the highest offer for your sellers. So, we work with both sides. We also have a program to be able to take payment at closing. It's a 3% upcharge to be able to do that, but then you can negotiate to either help the seller afford our costs to be able to get the work done. And it also allows our buyers to be able to negotiate with that seller to get those fees covered before closing. Do you ladies happen to have any questions for me I might be able to answer?
Oh, you going to announce drawing that you did for backstory?
I sure am. And if you guys watch Backstory from this
I
week,
did.
at the very end, I tell you how to enter for a $25 gift card to Texas Roadhouse. So make sure you watch that Backstory and give me a holler out for that answer to win that gift card. We'll be doing that drawing on Monday, and the winner will receive it probably later in that week via mail. So I look forward to hearing all those answers. Thank y'all for having me again. I hope y'all enjoy your class.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
That was really good.
So apparently you're not at home now.
Yeah, for no reason at all. Yeah, we're just working off the other microphone because this one decided to, die. All right. Yeah, well, that's okay. That's just kind of how it goes. So, it's par for the course, All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for coming, both in class as well as on Zoom. I know we got a lot of folks on Zoom. We're going to kind of go ahead and get started here real quick. So let's just kind of, of course, we're going to have our normal notice to students, that kind of thing going on. So my name is Alan Rich. I'm the managing broker here at Maximum One, but I'm also, I am a realtor. And so this is one of those great tools that we have that is probably one of the most underutilized of all the tools that NAR provides out there. I am a certified RPR trainer, but that being said, understand that I created this class, and I'm not carrying water for anybody. Like I love the RPR tool, but it is, it has its pros and cons. I'm not knocking it. So basically what I'm saying is I'm not carrying water for anybody. Like nobody paid me to be here. This is not I'm not here promoting it. Well, I am promoting it, but only because it's a great tool and we already pay for it. And that's one of the things is I hate having things that we pay for that we don't take advantage of. Just seems like a waste of money. And so that kind of bugs me kind of thing. So again, nobody's paying me, but I'm just here because I do like the product and I'd like to see more folks use it. I know a lot of realtors that call this their secret weapon. And at the same time, it only has around a 10% adoption rate. And that is really, really low. So it's a great chance to help you stand out. So I'm going to teach you some tips and tricks and things like that that we're going to do with RPR. So getting started with RPR. So of course, RPR wants you to be very, very successful. RPR is a division owned by the National Association of Realtors kind of thing. So today we're going to go over signing up for everything, how to use the homepage navigation. We're going to customize and set up a profile. Going over using RPR both with buyers and sellers. We're going to work with commercial for a little bit. And so the commercial keeps expanding more and more. And then how to find problems and fix problems and things like that. So your handouts, if you don't have them, you can find them at maximumpartners.com/CE class. And that has the entire getting started with RPR manual. That's by RPR. We don't follow that line by line today. It's not going to be like exactly that. But it is a good reference material for you. Also on that link is a link to my Google Drive, which has, gosh, just a ton of quick start guides for all these different things in RPR, and you're welcome to any of those as well in there. If you go to maximumpartners.com/CE class, you can scroll down to the getting started with RPR, and there you go. All right, so before we get started, don't stress out, right? This is, especially when you start a new thing, it's going to feel weird, and always does. There is a ton of training and support for this. There is a huge learning menu. You can go to blog.narrpr.com. There are training links, video tutorials, those kind of things are all in there. Basically, you can't break it. So you're not going to mess anything up because you don't have the ability to break this thing. So I do encourage you to go in and play with it though, kind of thing. If you have any kind of questions, if you're looking for new information out there, blog.narrpr.com, because NARRPR is where we're going to go to log in later. So this is how your main RPR screen is going to look when you first log in. And so again, if you'll just click on the Learn tab, you'll see that there's a lot of places where you can go and learn information, see everything that you kind of need in there. And I am going to be opening up RPR in a couple of minutes, and then we're going to be going through the different. We're going to be going live with RPR here in just a little bit. So I just want to kind of show you where everything is right now and just kind of run through it off the PowerPoint for the moment. Now, one thing that you will see is that there's a phone number, 877-977-7576. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and there's a live person. You just don't get that whole hold on kind of thing and have to talk to the annoying computer person for a while. And so they do answer their phone, and they are very good about helping answer any kind of questions. Most of the time, it's about signing in and logging in, that kind of stuff. You can also send an email to support@narrpr.com. If you're having any problems getting signed in, I'll be glad to help in any way I can. But if you send me an email, I don't work for RPR. I'm just, so I'll help in any way I can. I can help teach you the product and that kind of thing. I'm not going to be able, I don't have access to the back end of the system to do logins or sign-ins. None of that. That is all definitely above my pay grade. So you can also go live chat as well as go into the training area in there. Training area is pretty massive, but the good part is you can kind of break it down into what it is that you're trying to learn and what aspect you really want more information about. RPR just added a new shortcuts menu. So when you first log in, you'll see the big giant shortcuts menu across here. The way the shortcuts work, which is really kind of cool, is that when you click on a shortcut and hit it, it actually walks you through step by step. Enter your information here, you enter it in, it takes you to the next step you're supposed to go through. So RPR is NAR's technology company. Again, it is a wholly owned subsidiary kind of thing, corporation. It has over 166 million US properties on here. So this is national, but it is tied to our MLS kind of thing. If you're a realtor for it, there is no additional charge on here. Now, as opposed to there is like a mobile app, that kind of thing, but that mobile app is for you. This is, and we can share information to the public, but there is not a public portal where clients log in and pull data. Anything. That's
Okay.
not what this is.
Okay.
So when you start talking about RPR for residential agents, we have the RPR desktop, which we'll be going through today. Also RPR mobile, I'll be actually opening my phone up and we'll go through the RPR mobile app. We can do CMAs, we can pull market activity, neighborhood reports, property reports. We can prospect and pull up mailing labels. And we also have some really cool and extensive school reports. For our commercial agents, we also have desktop on there. Mainly commercials are used much more on desktop than it is on the app. You can pull some information, but it's really intended for the desktop. It does have some commercial sales and listing data. It pulls that off of the local MLSs as well as Crexit, Brexy, and Crexi, Brevitas, and public records are on there as well. It will show you where the federal opportunity zones, hub zones are, that kind of thing. It is a pretty cool tool. For agents that don't have access to a lot of commercial data, this is probably one of the better options out there. Now, it is not tied in with things such as LoopNet and CoStar. Those are pay services, and they don't play nice together. So for the ones that they can, it is pulling all the data that it has access to. In addition, I encourage you to go ahead and download the RPR mobile app. It is a free app to download. Once you download the app, you'll just simply go into the app, put in your same login credentials that you use for the desktop, and it'll remember it and it'll save it for you. So it gives you kind of on-the-fly access to all the property information. Any reports that you generated in the desktop version, you can pull up in the mobile app. It's really fast, really convenient. It's for both Apple and Androids. And again, it's completely free. So, well, that's just more of the same kind of thing. So let's get started. So to go in, to log in, we go to narrpr.com. But we're gonna stop really quick because this is always where people have a hard time to begin with. And so it starts with you have to go in and set up an account. All right, so in order to go in and create an account, you're just going to go in, you're going to go to narrpr.com, and then you're going to hit create new account kind of thing. And so you have to have some information ready to go when you log in. So let's talk about that. So also, it does have a promo page. If you just have a big need to watch videos, you can watch that on there. But basically, when you do that, it's going to say, create your account. You're going to need your NARS ID and your MLS ID and passwords in order to get in. So you're going to put in your NARS ID email or either your NRDS. We also call it our NARS ID. I'm not sure if that's the proper term or not. And so, but what happens if you don't have it, kind of thing? Well, then just go to realtor.org, and up in the top right-hand corner, you'll see sign in. When you click on that, you can go in and you can either, well, hopefully you should have your registration, but most agents or realtors just hit the forgot password or username, and then you go in there and you can retrieve your username and password right from there. So once you have that, then you're able to put all the information in that you need to get started, kind of thing. So from your drop down, that's all series of drop downs. You can choose what your state is, choose what your different MLS is, that kind of stuff. Agree to the terms of privacy and policy and select finish. So once you go in, you'll see where it has either green, yellow, or red. If it's green, that means that it's linked to your MLSs. And yes, here in our area, you can tie in both Georgia MLS and FMLS, which is a huge benefit because for a lot of us trying to search, we end up searching one property or the other. With RPR, you can search both MLSs at the same time. And the cool thing is it'll even show you which properties are listed in both and which are not. It'll identify the properties that are listed in both. It'll say multiple listings, that kind of thing. So long as your MLS is green, then it has full functionality. If it's yellow, it may be pulling some data. And if it's red, it means that your password, most of the time it's that your password didn't go through or that kind of thing. So again, if you have problems, and yes, some folks will have problems, call the phone number, 877-977-7576. You can go with live chat, you can do the training, or you can send an email to support@narrpr.com. So again, don't call me. I can't help on that piece. Okay, I'm here to help you with the product, but if you're having login issues, that's not me. Now, before we turn your phones on vibrate, there we go. There we go. Kill it.
I know.
Kill me, AB. Thank you. All right. Sorry about that,
I'm
folks.
sorry.
So RPR did get a refresh in February kind of thing. And so, we got a new homepage, new search results. So if you haven't been in it since February, it's going to look a little bit new. They did it because members said that it was hard to find certain things. They didn't know where to start. They didn't know how to get to their previous work, that kind of thing. And so RPR listened to that. And so we have new quick links from marketing and research tools, pull down menus, residential and commercial all in one place. It's just a simple toggle button to go from residential to commercial. There's a ton of new shortcuts and just navigational cards that make it really easy. So now we can search. There's a consolidated search form, which makes it a lot easier to use. I do feel it's a lot more versatile and streamlined kind of thing. Has a ton of new filters that you can use to narrow down the types of properties that you want to see. So it has preview count, all these are kind of going through. But we'll go through that. Also on the commercial side of things, we have lease and land use codes that are in there now. Because it used to be you couldn't search for leases, you can search for leases in RPR commercial now. It is streamlined as well. And again, it pulls out of the MLS, Brevitas, Crexi, by proxy, Catalyst, Office Space, Total Commercial, and Land Broker. So it's pulling from all these different sources together in one. So again, that's just kind of a list of the features. It has heat maps. We'll go through that. It has demographic data. We'll go through that. It has the up-to-date current FEMA flood maps. If you're trying to find if a property sits inside a flood zone, it actually has the FEMA flood maps on there. You can do your property searches. It is tied in with our MLSs. A ton of neighborhood information. Sometimes it's a little bit too much information kind of thing. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. It has a mobile app, it has all the different school zones in there. You can go in and search by map. It has a whole investment tool, and we'll open that up and play with that for a minute. It also pulls up public records. That's something that we, as most realtors, we don't pull a lot of public records, but that public records information is in here as well. All the school reports, driving distances, and walkability scores, they're all in there kind of thing. So, So when we go in, and we're gonna fire this thing up here in just a second and go through here. But on the, basically across the top, you have research, marketing, and reports. To learn, help, and my work, you're really not going to use that much. My work is just anything you've already done, and then your profile, that kind of stuff. You'll really spend most of your time in either research, marketing, and reports kind of thing. And research is really going to be the main area where we end up spending most of our time today. So again, RPR Mobile, we kind of talked about this already. Now, I want to warn you a little bit, okay? RPR is information overload, okay? It has a ton of information. What I'm going to encourage you is to use what makes sense for you and use what makes sense for your clients. One of the negatives I feel about RPR, I know I'm not supposed to be talking about negatives, but it's just true, is that sometimes we give so much information that we confuse our clients. And RPR is kind of guilty of that. On one hand, it's great to really have so much information, so much data that we can share with our clients. But I do encourage you to pare that down to make sure you're matching up to what your clients really want. I mean, if I just give you, some of these reports in here are like 50 pages long, and our clients are just going to be like, oh, kind of thing. And so, a lot of times I'll just pare some of those things down because it becomes a bit much to really kind of take in at one time kind of thing. It is kind of easy to confuse our clients with it if we're not careful. And so it's kind of like a balancing act between, I want to give you enough information for you to make wise choices and to assist you along the way, but not so much that people just kind of throw their hands up and go, what am I can't make heads or tails out of this thing kind of thing. So, because more does not always mean better.
Exactly.
All right. So once we log in, first thing that you want to do is you want to complete your profile kind of thing. We'll go ahead and upload your photo, your logo, because when you produce reports, guess where that photo is going to be? On those reports. So go ahead and get your picture set aside now because you're going to want to put your information in there, all your contact info. You want to verify your MLS. We'll do that in a minute. Your agent ID, and then, all that kind of stuff. So let's dive in. Again, those are all the different ways to get support. I'm going to check really quick and see if I have. So for the folks online, we have Q&A set up in there. And if you have any kind of questions on anything that you need, and if you guys have questions, just shout it out kind of thing. But if there's any kind of questions, please put that in the Q&A and I'll stop every once in a while and address it because this is a live plus virtual class here kind of thing. So I don't see anything on Q&A right now. So we are going to go and break this thing down. So give me 1 second. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off our PowerPoint. And then we're going to get going live on the screen here. Okay. Give me 1 moment and then we are going to get fired up here. All right, let's. Oh, it all went black for a moment. All righty. All right, folks. Well, hopefully you guys are seeing what I'm seeing now. Hopefully we do have that at this moment. So let's close this down. So we're going to go ahead and open up our. So at this point, you guys should all be seeing our website, seeing the website here, kind of thing. All right, and so we're going to go to narrpr.com, and that's going to be our main login screen. Oh, I'm going to log out just so you guys can see the main screen, kind of thing. So sorry, it remembers you when you do log in. So when you go, this is going to be the main screen you see when you log in, and so you're going to go in, you're going to put your email, your password, that kind of stuff. Up here is where you can check out any of the videos that you want to see. Also, again, you can see the phone number as well as the chat if you want to log into that part. And then down here at the bottom, if you haven't signed in before, that's where you're going to go and hit create account and walk that whole step. I've already created an account. That's why I have to do that in the PowerPoint because otherwise you'd be like, it won't let us do that again. So all you do is come in here and then password in, and it zips you right in. You with me so far? Mm-hmm. All right. Hopefully we're all up to speed here. All right, so this is our main page when we first log in, kind of thing. First thing you want to do when you first log in is you want to come up here in the top right-hand corner and go to profile. And so once you open up your profile, this is going to be the main place where you go in to put all of your information. So the first thing you want to do is go in, make sure you have a photo and go and put your affiliate brokerage in there, that kind of stuff. All your contact information, nothing real fancy about that. And then you can also come in and put in all the contact info you have. Once you get in there, you can come down here and it will ask you for one MLS to get logged in. But once you have logged in, you can come in and if you're in multiple MLSs, you can put multiple MLSs in here. So like for me, I have Georgia MLS as well as FMLS, both. We're pulling data from both of those kind of thing. And if it's where it's green, that shows that I'm fully connected. I'm pulling data from both of those. And if I had a third or fourth MLS in here, then they would all be in here as well. It does have you choose one as your primary. And all that really means is when it pulls property data and it's listed in multiple, it's going to show the property data from that MLS as opposed to from the others. It's not going to list it. It won't show a house listed twice, but it will display the data as it comes from whatever you have down as your primary. Then you have a place in here where you go and you put in your license number. Certain states require that. Georgia's not one, but still you can put it in there. If you have any kind of assistant, so I have an assistant, she's in here as well, that kind of stuff, and then you get to opt in for all those kind of things. Any questions? All right. Then up here on the right-hand side, this is where if you want to go ahead and change your password, it's right here. Sorry if it's scrolling. I know it kind of makes me nauseous watching the scroll too. Sorry. But then you get to pick what is your time zone, if you have any kind of linked accounts, and then when did you log in last, and that kind of stuff. So up here under settings, so there's two tabs. There's a profile tab and a settings tab. Now the settings tab, that's the next one over. You can come in here and make adjustments or not, but this is where you go to set up your market preferences and that kind of thing. So first thing you get to do is you get to set how long new listings are. So like I've got mine set to 7 days, but some places like to have new listings listed for the first 2 weeks or 10 days or whatever it may be. And then how long should be your closed sales, and then how about on commercial? How long is a listing new, and how old should be closed sales listed? Underneath there, you'll have this area which says My Markets. And so this is just where you go in and pick an area, a zip code, a city, a state, that kind of thing. And when you log in, it's going to show you those different areas and what kind of trends are happening. So it's kind of like hot sheets in a way, kind of thing. It kind of shows you what kind of activity is going over. We'll go over that on the main page when we log back in, but this is where you go in order to select what are those areas. For me, we're primarily across the south here, kind of thing. So I've got most of the southern counties, that kind of stuff in mind. All right. Any questions? All right. Well, that's the easy part there. All right. So now we're going to go back to the main home screen. Just want to check this out really quickly and see if I'm just trying to check and see if we have any other Q&A on it. Nope, I don't have any Q&A questions. Okay, good. All right, so just good for me to stop every once in a while. If anybody does have any questions online, again, post it in there and I'll try and address those. All right, so now we're back here at the main screen again. And so this is the main screen where most of the work kind of happens. And I just kind of want to run you through, because it looks really, really busy, but once you break it down, really isn't that tough at all, kind of thing. And so up here across the top, you have a home bar, then underneath that you have research. And so we're going to be going, we'll spend a good bit of time today in research, because we can do a property search, map search. We're going to go through and we're going to pull up some neighborhoods and pull their data. We can search for our different schools. And the nice thing is that when you do a school search, not only can you pull up and get the information on the schools, you can actually pull listings from within that school district while you're doing it. We're going to look and see what is a residential market activity search. That's going to give us a residential market activity report. And then we can also do commercial site selections and commercial map insights. We'll be playing with both of those.
Wow.
Under the marketing tab, we can prospect for residential and commercial. And then we can also create residential and property flyers. I'm not a huge fan of the flyers, to be honest with you. They're a little bit outdated. Sorry. They're a little bit outdated in my opinion, but they're there. And if you need a flyer, it's better than nothing. In the report section, we will go through all the different reports that we have access to today. But it's just much easier to do those as we go along. And then again, if you have any kind of questions and you're looking for learning, you can learn all about the different things, all the different places. And again, help is the same thing that I keep showing again and again. Again, there's your phone number. Call that if you're having any problems, or you can do live chat, or you can go into the training area. In addition to that, you have My Work, which is you can go in and check out your market, your listings, any saved properties, notes, that kind of stuff that you make. So that's what's everything that's across the top. Now, in here in the middle, this is where we go in to start searching for either addresses and that kind of stuff. Over here on the side is where you go from residential to commercial, and that is that difficult to jump into commercial. It's a simple click of the toggle button and you are off to the races. So commercial and residential, not hard to switch from one to the other kind of thing. Next, we move down, and this is all the shortcuts tab. And so the shortcuts are really pretty slick. We'll come back and we'll do a couple of those in just a minute. Underneath shortcuts, we have My Markets. And so you remember earlier where I said, this is where you'll go in and select what your different markets are. And so, what's pulled up right here, I'm in our Noonan office today. So this is the Noonan market right here. And I can see that in Noonan. And so if you'll go down here to the very bottom, it says viewing changes in the last 10 days. So I can see that right now in Noonan, we have 48 properties for sale, 6 for lease, 24 have had a price change, 66 are pending, 55 are closed, and 6 are closed for lease. No distressed properties. So I can immediately see gosh, I've got more closings than I have listed right now, kind of thing. You can see all those kind of things that are going on. I can also come through and check the same thing out for any of the different areas that I want. So here's Butts County, there's McDonough, Georgia. So it's just super fast and easy to be able to see what's going on in the different markets where you operate. And so it's really great when, because especially over the last year, I've been able to log in and really see, like right now, our days on market is some of the shortest days on market that we've ever had. We know it's a seller's market, but when you look at the numbers, you see, gosh, I got 56 closed in the last 10 days, but only 55 on the market. That shows you the intensity in our market at the moment. And so this is one of those things that you can do to help really keep a pulse on kind of what's going on, as well as be able to see where maybe some opportunity areas that maybe has a little bit more information. Is Rockdale any kind of better? Actually, Rockdale's worse, kind of thing. That kind of thing. So you can, but it kind of lets you go through. And so that's one of the cool things about the My Neighborhoods area. All right, underneath that, if you have any kind of listings in here, that kind of stuff, most of my stuff is, this is an account I just used to work with RPR on, kind of thing. So this doesn't really have a lot of our information in here. But if you had any kind of saved properties, that would be in here. Anything recent, you could view anything recent. You can view any of the reports, or if you made any kind of notes. Here's any of your recent or saved searches that you've done, kind of thing. And then down at the bottom is all just more help information, that kind of stuff. So you can, RPR has a Facebook group. You can, again, call the phone number. I know I keep saying the same thing. I sound like a broken record now. And then there's a ton of RPR training on there. So questions in here that still seems scary.
Yep.
And daunting. Hope it doesn't. Yeah, please.
So if you're not a realtor, how do you use this, or do you have to become a realtor?
Only realtors have access to this. You have to be part of your local board, which makes you part of the Georgia Association of Realtors, which makes you part of the National Association of Realtors. So this is a member benefit. It doesn't cost us anything, but for the real estate professionals, they don't have access to this.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. So let's kind of jump in here a little bit. So we're gonna come down here and start playing a little bit. And so let's jump in and start looking at, let's look for a neighborhood. What do you say? Okay. So we're gonna come in here and we're gonna jump into a neighborhood search. So what it does, it pulls this first page up here, which is a neighborhood search. So start here, that kind of thing. There's really not much to it. Here's the really nice thing about it, is that you can just come in and start putting in the name of a neighborhood. So I'm in Newton, so Summer Grove is a pretty big popular neighborhood here in. So all I do is start typing the name, and it will pull up a list. And so here's Summer Grove in Newton, Georgia. And so you can do the same thing on any neighborhood, as long as it's in there. And so now, what does that neighborhood data, what does a neighborhood search really give you? And so here's where we're going to start playing with some of the cool things in here. So this is Summer Grove, and so I can come in and see overall the neighborhood average estimated value is 315. It went up 1.5% in the last month. It's up 14% for the last year, right?
Wow.
Right. But I want you to, like the whole idea with this for me is that you really understand how to turn this into practical information. So when you walk into a listing appointment in Summer Grove, right? Like, this is a really great neighborhood for you to be in, right? Because, property values increased last month by 1.52%. And over the last year, property values here in Summer Grove are up 13.9, just shy of 14%. Is that, when you walk in with that kind of information, what does that make you? You are the subject matter expert, kind of thing. So now we can look into some of the other fun parts in here. So you can also see what have home values done? I mean, there's no real shocker, right? We all know that home values have been increasing. But you can come in here and on any of these, there's always this little about the data. So if you're wondering where this data comes from and that kind of stuff, you just click on it and it'll tell you where the data comes from, what it's sourced, how frequently. So like on home values, it calculates this every month. It pulls it both from MLS and public records kind of thing. So, and then you can kind of see what is Summer Grove doing. So you can see Summer Grove is a little bit higher than Noonan, higher than Coweta County, and higher than Georgia kind of thing. And so you can see where it ranks compared to all the others. You can also change your scale on things. Look, I want to see how does it look over the last 3 years, or what about just the last year? You can check that data. It's as simple as doing that. You can also go in and actually, well, I don't want to see all this other information. All I want to have that. So it doesn't mean it's super easy to kind of play with on that kind of thing. As you move down, you can see median sales prices versus sales volume. And so this shows, what kind of trends do we have on the public versus the listing. That's just what's coming off tax records. And the listing is what's coming out of the MLSs as far as it pulls that data. And it is calculating, pulling that data for every neighborhood, for all the properties in there, every month on there kind of thing. So you can kind of see where that's kind of been running, the different trends. And then down here, this is sales volume that we've seen kind of going up and down. Now, sales volume, this is not dollar amount. I mean, this is transaction numbers, right? These are the numbers of transactions. And so why would our transaction numbers be lower? There's not enough houses to sell, right? That's really our, that's one of those that people think, well, market's doing bad. No, the market's doing really, really good. Property values continue to increase. We have a lot more demand than we have supply to match. If we had more houses on the market, we'd see our sales volume really go up, kind of thing. A lot of people will take off the public records and just have what's coming off the MLS. It makes it less confusing, in my opinion, as well, kind of thing. And then median list versus listing volume. Again, we have that information. Now we have population of children by age group. Now, again, this may seem like information overload, right? But, well, I mean, like, hey, we have, a lot of our kids, let's say you got a new buyer, right? And they're like, hey, how old are your kids? Oh, they're all middle school. Well, would Summer Grove be a good choice for a family that has a lot of middle school children, middle school age children kind of thing? You see that that's the largest child's group in the neighborhood. Like you want to move to a neighborhood with a lot of middle-aged school kids? Well, Summer Grove's a really good choice for you, kind of thing. Toddlers, not so much, right? Playdates are not going to be as big a deal in Summer Grove. And then it shows you the different population groups inside the neighborhood. So again, what's your when you have folks that are 35 to 54, is this going to be, you can see that this neighborhood is predominantly 35 to 54. If you were 75 or older, would this be a good choice? And I'm not saying that, and again, we have to be a little bit careful because we are still dealing with, we don't want to be accused of doing steering. I don't mean it that way. And we want to make sure that we're being very respectful of any kind of protected classes and that kind of stuff. When I share this information with clients, I share the information without a whole lot of narrative. Like, I'll give you the information. Now, I'm not going to go in and say, you should be doing this or not be doing that. We have to be very careful, but being able to give them the information, this is one of those great things about RPR is that I can now actually give you legit information and the information that you need to make an educated decision for you and your family. And it's not me steering. So there is a little bit of, we have to be careful of especially in, making sure that we're not dealing with any protected classes and that kind of stuff. So all that is what's there on the left tab. Sorry. If you come down on there's the right side of the page here kind of thing. This also shows other nearby neighborhoods kind of thing. Because sometimes you'll have a client, well, I want to look in this neighborhood, but there's no listings in there, for example. I know that's not the case with Summer Grove, but you can also come down and see how big are these other neighborhoods, the Retreat at Summer Grove, Great Woods, that kind of stuff shows how many different homes there are in different neighborhoods kind of thing, what the population is. Then it has a list of all the schools and what they're rated. And we'll get into
Wow.
schools in a minute. You know, I'm going to save schools to kind of go through separately here in a minute. So now that's just one tab. Okay. So you see what I get what I mean when I said I can blow your mind. I can fill you up with a lot of information. Let's go through the housing tab. So first thing is, what is our median household income kind of thing versus Noonan, Coweta County, Georgia, and then the rest of the U.S. Again, we are in new home value changes. What's our median list price? Median home age, that kind of stuff. 80% of the folks in Summer Grove own, only 20% rent. So it's predominantly going to be. So would this be a good neighborhood to lead investors to? Probably not, right? Because it's predominantly owner occupied kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, again, we got median list price versus volume on there. That one. Oh, it's a fake card, not really there. Under people tab. Oh, waking up, sorry. I've got the spinning wheel of death. Those are always fun. So, while that's happening, I'm gonna see if anybody else if there's any kind of questions or anything on my Q&A. Don't have anything on Q&A right now. All right, so let's look at the people tab. Again, you can see what now Summer Grove, big old neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's 4,200 people live in Summer Grove, so it's a really big neighborhood kind of thing. What kind of density? It's been a 20% increase since 2010. What's the median age? 51 male to 49 female. Now we get into education levels kind of thing. And so this is, you can see that when you start looking at, only less than 0.5% have less than 9th grade. No one only has no diploma in here. You can see how many folks are high school graduates. How many have an associate's? How about bachelor's degree and some college and professional degrees? And when you look at it, is this a neighborhood of college educated people? Yeah, it is. I mean, you can just see that kind of stands out. And again, not trying to steer. If you have folks who are college educated, would this be a good choice of a neighborhood for them? Would they feel? And again, not doing the steering thing, but it does open itself up to be able to share a lot of insights.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And we go back into the population. How many of our households married with children, married without children, and then how many single with children kind of thing. The different income brackets and where they all break down. The biggest piece is over $150,000 of income is the average in the neighborhood kind of thing. Of those, you can see that transportation and warehousing are one of the biggest ones. Healthcare, so always a lot of doctors and nurses, that kind of stuff. A lot of teachers are in there as well, all the way through. And then now the voting pattern, that's county data. Okay, so they don't break it down like you pull up about this data, it will show. This shows how the county voted in the 2000. I think that actually says 2012 election kind of thing. All right, so we still have another couple of tabs to go through. So you can see again, lots of information. Next, we have the economy and a spinny wheel. Sorry. The weather the last couple of days has really been making our internet here just kind of a little bit jumpy. So hopefully you guys aren't seeing any delays on anything. And so you can see that any of the unemployment data and that kind of stuff, that's going to be county and state, if that makes any sense. Sometimes it'll have city data depending on if the city releases that data. Those kind of things, it will not break it down by the actual neighborhood itself. But you can see that overall the unemployment rate, how it compares for both Noonan, and then you can see Coweta County is actually under the rest of the state of Georgia versus the US, that kind of stuff. And so Again, you can turn on and off everything if you want. You know, if you didn't want to show, you know, what different areas were, that kind of thing. So not a ton of information on that one. Quality of life. Thinking about it again, here we go. So it shows how much rainfall we get, snowfall, which is we don't get, those kind of things. How about commute time? Stop that. Why is commute time a good thing to know? Right? Well, because, well, I mean, like, you know, especially like Newnan. Newnan's the city of homes. Like, does everybody here commute? I mean, a lot of folks do. There's not as much industry in Newnan, and so it's known as the city of homes. And so you can see that the average commute time is between 30 and 45 minutes. And guess what's about 30 to 45 minutes away? Atlanta. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not real surprising. So, but we're seeing more and more, especially, you know, since COVID, you know, like how many people wanted to get out of the city, that kind of thing. So, of course, you know, is this going to be, you got to have a car to get around and if you're going to live here. Yeah, this is, you know, I mean, you know, the largest percent is going to be has a drive alone, carpool, or motorcycle. Our monthly temperatures, the ARP livability index, you know, it has a 51 out of 100. 50 is normal, 50 is average kind of thing. It is kind of how it goes. You can break it all down and look at it. I don't find this one nearly that helpful, but you know, it's in here if you'd like to break that out. Walkability, where would walkability be one of those issues that's probably important to someone looking in the Summer Grove neighborhood? More than likely not. This is something that you would see much more used in an urban setting, that kind of stuff. If I was searching for townhomes and condos, ITP, that kind of stuff inside the perimeter, that might be a much more important feature. And so, you know, if somebody's like, well, I'd really love to be able to walk everywhere. I hope I don't need a car. Is Summer Grove going to be a good choice for them? No. You know, that's kind of what that means. So, all right, now, so we went through that whole thing, and that gave us a ton of really great information. How do we share that? Well, we're going to come over here and see on the right where it says Create Report. We're going to hit Create Report. Now, this moves us into the report section. And here's where I'm going to encourage you to do a couple of different things. Until you actually get in and play with it, view the sample reports and see what's in it. And then be ready to pare it down. And so I'll show you what I mean about that. So first thing we have, so this is going to give us a neighborhood report. And you can see that it'll tell you right here, approximately 10 pages. So as you look around, you'll see that like the seller's report, 81 pages long. You know any of your sellers that want to review 81 pages of information? No, me neither. But that's why it helps to do that. Now, if you'll come in here and hit View Sample, this will pull up and give you a little slideshow, which kind of shows you what what's in that report overall. If you just hit Generate right now, I'm going to encourage you not to hit Generate yet, kind of thing. But that just kind of gives you a brief overview. And so, see that little plus sign right here? So we're going to hit that little plus sign. And so when you hit the little plus sign, this shows you what all the different pages that you have access to. And so like, you know, like we have our net sheet uploaded in here. If I wanted to be able to go through with a net sheet on that, but that net sheet is probably only going to be used if I'm going on a listing presentation. So I could include it, but I'm not going to. But then I can have all my neighborhood stats and charts, people, economic, quality of life. You know, maybe you know, the ARP index doesn't really matter that much. I can tell you on almost every one, I'm an RPR trainer. I always turn off about RPR in our data. Not that I'm, you know, like I love RPR, but I'm not here to pimp RPR with my clients. The consumers really don't care. And then we can come down, and then if you want, you can actually just turn off the public records right here if you don't want to share. It just, in my opinion, is one of those things that makes it a little bit confusing. They're like, what's public, what's this? I normally turn that off myself, kind of thing. Now, once that happens, I can come down here and I can include, I can put a name, I can put you know, like send an email, and then I can email it directly to somebody. But what we're gonna do today is we're just gonna run this report first. And I wanna show you what happens. So first thing is all the gnomes start turning the gears back at RPR. It takes a couple of minutes normally to generate, the longer reports are gonna take longer to generate than some of the quicker ones kind of thing. So you can also include all the, I didn't actually cover this, sorry, but in here on the report, you can decide if you want to take any of this information off. So, I mean, I'm not sure why you wouldn't want your name on there, but that seems like a silly one. But you can do that. If you wanted to add some custom pages, you would come right here and go in and add the custom pages if you wanted to add a custom page to the reports that you use. So now up here, you can see that this, if you just scroll to the top of the page, it's going to show you what are the reports going on now. And so this neighborhood report, oh, there it goes, ding dong, Avon calling. And so it'll say that it's done. Now, I want to show you one of the cool features that I think that so many agents should be utilizing right now. And so this is the one that we just generated a moment ago. Now I can come in here and I can download the report. I can delete it, rerun it, or I can post it directly to Facebook right from here. And so I can come up here and I can share it on my news feed or story, and I can say, want some information about and I don't, again, I'm not trying to do it that way, but I can now do that and hit post to Facebook. We'll go ahead and put it out there. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. But now that report is generated. So could you pull a report on I mean, think about how many neighborhoods are in your trade market, in your trade area. Hundreds, right? Could you pull a neighborhood report on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every week and post it out to social media? What are you telling the world now? I know the market. I know what's going on. I know how everything looks. So now we just posted that out there on social media. But what does that report really look like? Well, let's have a little look. So this is what. So out there, it's just going to post that out there on Facebook, and then so it's going to show Summer Grove and Noonan neighborhood report. It's going to have your information on there, have your little picture, that kind of stuff. And then all the different housing stats and charts, same thing that we just looked at, but now it's in a nice report fashion kind of thing.
Very professional.
And now here's the cool thing also I like about a lot of these. And when we get into some of the other reports will include listings. And so I can share the listings that are in here as well. I just want, we're taking baby steps as we go along kind of thing. But now I'm sharing all this information out there on social media with a click of a button, and I'm done. Cool or cool?
Very cool.
I think that is that's a really cool feature to be able to have, and I find that is vastly underutilized. Even if all you did was take a limited version of that data and just shared out those kind of information that you really wanted to share out to folks out there, kind of thing. So, questions? I'm gonna check up here real quick and see if I have any questions in Q&A. Nope, nothing there either. So, all right, we're gonna keep rolling here, my friends. So, all right. So let's go back to home now. And so we did the neighborhood search. Let's check out schools. What do you say? So we're gonna go over here and we're gonna click on research, and then we're gonna come down here and we're gonna hit school search. Now, here's one of the first things I'm gonna tell you. Go in here and change geography to school district. It's much easier to search by school district. And then come in and just put in your and put in your school search, Coweta County, Georgia, kind of thing. And then, once you have that, now it gives me a list of all the schools here in Coweta County, kind of I can scroll through, and first thing it does is it just gives me this massive list that shows you how the different schools are rated overall. And we'll talk about where the ratings come from and all that kind of stuff. But like, what's like one of the big schools here? Northgate. Yep. So let's scroll down to Northgate, which hopefully is going to come up. There we are. So here's Northgate High School. Now, if you'll just click on Northgate High School, this is going to show us the school report. It's going to say, you know, what is it? That kind of stuff. You'll notice that there is a view nearby listings. I can just click on that button,
Wow.
and that's going to search, and that's going to open up the search automatically for the Northgate High School district. Cool or cool? Very cool, right? Because
Yeah.
a lot of our buyers are like, we really want to be in this school district kind of thing. Now you're in here, boom, and immediately you're searching kind of thing. Also, it also gives you on the right hand side a list of nearby listings right here. So it shows you what the overall, and then it compares the school versus the county, how it ranks on, you know, overall grade, number of enrollment, academics, teacher grade, that kind of thing. If you'll click up here and say about this data, this tells you where it comes from. Okay, so the source is called niche. It updates this information once a quarter kind of thing. And so 4 times a year, it's pulling new data for the schools, for all the schools in the United States kind of thing. Most of your private schools aren't, well, some private schools are, but a lot of private schools don't report their data is the thing. Some private schools do. So if the private schools don't report it, then they're not going to have anything for it. But if the private schools do report data, then you will have information on the private schools as well. It just depends on if that private school does that. So again, you've got all that information right there. So just like we did before, let's create a report. So now we hit the create report button. It automatically opens up the report section again. You can see these are all the other reports we created. And so first thing we're going to do, we can see that it's approximately 10 pages long. This is what it looks like on the slideshow kind of thing. I'll let that scroll through for a second. Oh, I didn't show you, but it actually even has reviews from students and faculty and alumni, things like that.
Oh, wow.
And they don't filter. Because sometimes you'll see some of the kids are like, this is the worst school ever, or I really enjoyed it kind of thing. You see, you know, but it's all in there.
Just
Kind of
being
thing.
honest.
All right, but I don't know if you've noticed, but you know, this thing will also give us a choice of listings nearby this school.
So the agent that's on there, so that's where you would put your picture?
Yeah, well, we'll generate here. So first thing we're gonna do again, hit the little plus sign. And so I don't want to have my seller's net sheet. That doesn't need to be on here. So right now it's going to give me a summary, and then it's going to have reviews. Do you want reviews on there or not? I mean, that's up to you. I normally leave it, but you know, sometimes some folks are like, I don't want it. Again, I love RPR. I don't need the pimp. I'm not trying to carry water for them. And then do I want to include charter or private schools in there? You can decide that. You can also decide if you know, like all I want is high school, that kind of stuff. And then the within 5 miles or the property distance that you're looking for.
Okay.
Again, I could email this directly to a person and include their name and all that. So if you turn that on, now this whole box right here works up same kind of way. So I could put in, you know, hey Bob, hey Susie, whatever kind of thing.
Right.
And then we could either display it now and open it to a PDF, or I could email it directly to them directly from here. And so now, you know, schools is one of those things that a lot of times it's hard to have an unbiased opinion. And a lot of times our clients, you know, like what's the big question when you get a kid, when clients with kids, like how are the schools? And as a realtor, that's dangerous waters to go into. And so now you can say, you know what? I'll send you a complete report with a full breakdown of the schools. Now, who's out of it, right? Now I'm providing the information that you want, but I'm not going to say this school's good or this school's bad, because that's not really our purview kind of thing. So,
And it's not something we're supposed to do anymore, right?
right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm not here to kind tell you what school is good or not, because, even schools that don't have ratings, there can be some really good, there's
Right.
folks that get a lot out of those
Right.
schools kind of thing. So, again, what one person says good and how another person says good, or what good means, is such this weird term. So, deciding really what to say, this way, you're kind of taking yourself out of it. And I'm not having to say, this is a good neighborhood, this is a good school. I can say, well, school's rated an A, from niche, and I'll send you the entire report kind of thing. So I'm sorry?
I said, oh, that sounds good.
All right, so this thing is still coming, and so you can see it says 2 minutes remaining. And so, if I'd hit the email button instead, it would, as soon as that was done, it would just automatically have opened up or have sent them an email kind of thing. There wouldn't be another step.
Oh.
So now we pulled this up, and so now again, here's a map of what the area is, what the Northgate School District actually encompasses. Our contact information, right? Because we want them to call us, that kind of stuff. Shows that a little overview of the school, and then it ranks the school versus the county in there on the details. Same thing that we look. And here's all the different reviews. And you can see this one. The first 3 were by a senior, one was posted by, and the next 2 were both by alumni of the school kind of thing. And so just and unbiased. I mean, well, I guess I don't know if it'll be unbiased or what, but real opinions of the school kind of thing. And again, you can choose to toggle that off if you don't want it. And then it shows, what are the nearby schools within 5 miles? Well, these are the other schools in the same area kind of thing. What are the elementary, what's elementary and middle, that kind of stuff. And then you can see that, like Christian Central is on here. So but that's the only private school. Why is that? That's the only one that reported the information, right? So, next we have properties for sale within 5 miles of the school.
Wow.
How hard was that to pull up, right? And now this is just there aren't any parameters on here, and we can put more parameters in when we do individual searches. But just to pull up a school report and put this in, now you can turn that off in the report section. We could have turned these tabs off, but this just pulls more information that of the properties that are within 5 miles of the school kind of thing. And so
Are they gonna be in the school district?
yes, yeah, they would be, but that does a 5 mile radius around the school. And so if I wanted to, we'll go back in here. So like if you come down here, we could have come in here and done within the district, or within a mile, or within 20 miles, or however we wanted to do it. But now it's only pulling schools from within the district, that kind of stuff. I can also come in and turn off these other kind of things, that kind of stuff. I can do anything. We can turn on and off anything that we wanted in there through that kind of thing. So like if you didn't want to show properties at all, you just hit I can turn off nearby properties for sale. And now it's not even including that data in. And all you do is just run it again kind of thing. So not a big deal. So and so like it depends on who this is going to. Like if I have a client that I'm already working with, I'm probably not going to include the other properties for sale. But now, if I'm going to share this out on Facebook, would I like to be a good idea to throw some properties out there? Yeah, sure would. And so, I just generated another one kind of thing. I mean, you don't have a generation limit, any of that kind of stuff. We do, there are some limits when it comes to printing the labels, but there's a monthly limit. But there's not a monthly limit on how many searches and those kind of things that you do. You can just sit here and just crank them out all day if you wanted to. Not that you do, but you could, kind of thing. So I'm gonna let that come up, and then we'll throw this on Facebook as well. So, I mean, if we want to, I'm just, so again, this is the report as it comes up. So it's the same report as we had before, but now this report has the other schools, but it doesn't have any of the listing information. Now, this report's only 4 pages long. And so that might be what I actually send to a client as opposed to sending out more as a marketing piece than anything, if that makes sense. Kind of thing. So, I could still come up here and I could rerun it, I could download it, delete it, do all those kind of things. Questions?
I
Let's see.
think I need to get on the board.
Yeah. All right, let's see. I don't see anything in Q&A. All right, so we're gonna go back here to school search. I'm sorry, let me go back to research again, and then we'll go back to school search. So, so again, we're gonna come in here, we're gonna change it to school district. Here we go.
And this is where you said we can do another state if we wanted to?
Well, here's the deal. It will pull some limited information from other areas, but it's going to pull out of our MLSs. It's really designed to be working inside your MLSs. Now, for like commercial and that kind of information, it'll pull any kind of commercial sources that it has. It will pull public data from outside of an area. So if you want to pull something in South Carolina, it'll pull public data. But it's not, but because you won't have access to South Carolina MLS, it's not going to have up-to-date agent information, that kind of stuff. All right, so we're going to go down here to, sorry if I'm scrolling too fast, I'm just trying to get back down here. So Northgate. So let's go, and so, here's Northgate School again. What happens if I just hit view nearby listings? Well, let's try that out, shall we? And so this gives me all the properties that are within, in this school district. Now, a lot of these are pending and that kind of stuff. Are those really important? All right, so we come up here, and so now we're going to go into this main bar right here. With me right here? Yes?
Yeah.
All right, and so first thing I want to do is, I don't want leases. I don't want active under contract, and I don't want pending. All I want is just active homes, right?
Okay.
All right, so now we have just sales. So again, you can just see exactly what they have. Now, right now we have single, condos, and co-ops. Is that good?
Okay.
I mean, but we can come in here and look for lots of land. We can look for multifamily if we wanted to, that kind of stuff. And then we can also come in here and say, you know what? I'm really looking 375,000 to 425,000. Right?
Okay.
Oh, here we are. Now, if you hit that filters tab, we just ran across the whole top up here. But if you hit this little filters tab right here, so we're just gonna, this is the filters tab. This opens up a ton of other things that you can add to your parameters to be able to search. So I can come in here and, whereas across the top, this is your down and dirty, get it done quick kind of thing. I can just do those quick drop downs and do it. They're also in here, but this shows everything open. So I can come in here, I can put in bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, units, lot sizes. I can calculate lot size by square footage or acreage. I can include any pre-foreclosures, foreclosures, all those that we have. There's no foreclosures, we know. We can see a list of open houses by going through here. We can also go in and you will normally use these miscellaneous fields and other reports, but it's in here kind of thing. You can search for keywords and that kind of stuff, but we're not going to do that. All right, so we're just going to hit update and search. And so what we've done now is we went in, nailed out the school district, put in our parameters for what we want, and here we are. So I've got 3 properties that match everything that I'm looking for in the school district in my price range right there.
Wow.
Hard. All right. We're going to get more into the specific property data and that kind of stuff. So, I can come in here, I can select them all if I wanted to, and I could come here and I could just print them. Or we could create a report. All right. And so there's multiple reports. We'll get into those reports again in a minute, but I wanted to take a second to show that, being able to search by school district is, especially for folks who are with kids, that kind of stuff. A lot of our buyers are wanting to shop by school district. I mean, you saw how easy and quick it was to be able to search for these parameters kind of thing for our clients. So questions? Let's see if I got any on here. I don't see any on there. I'm just gonna check chat real quick. All right, here we go. All right, so we're good. We're off to the races. All right, so let's keep rolling, shall we? All right, so we're gonna go back here. We're gonna go home again. So is this already better than what you thought it was, or is this worse? Kind of thing. Is this intimidating to anybody? I just wanted to take a quick test of that kind of thing. So you can see that there's really no breaking it, and it really does have a lot of benefits. We haven't even gotten to some of the cool things
a
yet.
lot of benefits. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll wait till we get into some of the other really cool features here. So
Wow.
yeah. All right, so we're gonna go back into the research tab now. And now we're going to go in here and we're going to do what's called a residential market activity search. Boom. Big, long words kind of thing. So there's all kinds of things that you can use this report through. It can search for a general area. It can do a larger area. It could do a neighborhood. You can draw a map on it. You can decide what kind of properties that you want included in it, and it will compare them all out to give you averages. So, we're just going to kind of come in here. And so, we're just going to come in and we're in Noonan. So we're going to do Noonan, Georgia. And so Noonan, Georgia is, so this, immediately when we come in, it's just, this is all the properties in Noonan, Georgia automatically. So we just kind of pulled that out. And so these are all the listings, but we really want to get more information than just that. So like, let's say that, like a lot of times clients will say, well, what are the trends? What's kind of going on? How are things in Noonan really looking kind of thing? And so you can come in here and so you can sit closed, pending, distressed. We'll do single families and then you can either take out your price or not put your price in, that kind of stuff. So we're going to leave it at $250,000 to $400,000 kind of thing.
So if you don't put a price in, what's it going to end up?
It's going to give you all the properties from 9 to 90 kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Full range kind of thing. So again, I can come in here and choose any of these parameters and then update and search, same kind of thing. And then we're going to hit create report now. So, and so now this is a market activity report, right? So again, we can come in here. And so if we hit view sample, this is where it's going to show us. This is our slideshow where it's going to show heat maps. And we'll get more into heat maps in a minute, but it's going to show all the information based on the parameters that we put in. Okay. So let's get into those a little bit more. First thing we're going to do, like before, we're going to hit the little plus sign. And then we're going to take out, so this thing right now is going to give us a market snapshot, estimated home values, 12 months, concentration of distressed properties, sales, list prices, activity sheets, property details, and then we're going to turn off that. Now, in here, it also is going to give us a list of properties for sale that match that list. Now, we can decide whether we want to share that out or not. Depends on if it's just like if I'm using this for marketing, it might be really good. There's a lot of folks like what's the number one thing that someone says when we especially when we start talking to a cold lead or just a new acquaintance, like how's the market? How's the market, right? Well, it's very easy to just kind of flippantly throw out that it's good or it's great or it's really great for buyers, it's really good for sellers, that kind of thing. But now we get into like what are some really good information to have kind of thing. And so I can decide if I want closed, expired, distressed kind of properties. I can adjust the price again. I can include or take out any of these kind of things that we want. And then now, again, we can send it to an individual person. We're just gonna run reports right now, kind of thing. Oh, no, not now. Please don't restart my computer right now. What a great time for things to happen. That would be great. Hey, y'all don't mind our computer reboots right now, do you? Great. All right, so you can see this is gonna be one of those that is, normally it's like 25, 26 pages long kind of thing. It's a bit much for most of our clients kind of thing.
Wow.
I'm gonna generate it the way it is, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, but normally I will pare this thing down. And even to the point, like to me, this is one of those great ones to be able to use in prospecting for clients, to pare down and just share some of the certain parameters about what's happening in the market, turn some things on, turn other things off, include the information that makes sense. Share it out on Facebook, throw it out on social media, send it to folks inside your database, that kind of thing. You can do one of these talking about what's the sales data on, let's say you had a bunch of clients in Summer Grove that we were talking about. Go through and do that. So let's see, what does this report look like now? And remember that this is all based on the data that we put in. It's $250,000 to $400,000. Well, what about those houses that are $225,000? It's not going to consider them in any of the information in here, kind of thing. And so it's going to say, here in Noonan, Georgia, going to show what is actually the city limits of Noonan, Georgia, that kind of stuff. And so first thing you get is a heat map, which kind of shows the overall home values based on the area. So what areas are more pricey and what areas are less pricey, kind of thing. You can also see like to me, this is also a really cool one to share, right? Because you can see in the last month, property values in Noonan went up by 1.6%. Over the last quarter, 4.7, 14% over the last 12 months, and 21% over the last 2 years. So 20% property value appreciation. Noonan's a great place to buy because we're not looking at property values going down, right? So is this a great thing to share out on social media? I think it is. Or out to our clients, that kind of stuff. And then you can kind of see a net change in values. So you can see where do we have some areas with changes in values to the negative? We do. Yeah, I mean, everybody thinks, oh, it's an appreciating market, but no market is flat, and everything doesn't move up and down. And so you can see where certain areas are actually not experiencing the same kind of price appreciations that we've seen, kind of thing. And so there's always going to be pockets, there's always going to be areas. So somebody's looking for a deal, where would be a good place to go? The red areas, right? Yeah. That kind of, I mean, just being straight up kind of thing. So, how about concentration of distressed properties? This one kind of goes along with the last one too. You can see where property values are appreciating and depreciating at the same time. A lot of times you'll see, there'll be some similarities. But this just shows this is where more distressed properties are located than in other parts of the city.
Oh.
So sales price, this just shows your same thing, another heat map showing the overall sales price, list price. Sorry, I know we're just kind of going through. Then we have a market activity summary stats. And this one is really, really cool. Like this is another one, like some of those other, the last two heat maps, those are just more information. But like when you show, this one, this shows like any kind of new listing, price changes, that kind of stuff. Just some folks really like data and that kind of stuff.
Mm.
And so now we get into the properties, right? And so it just shows 10 of the new listings in Newton, kind of thing. And then we get down to, here's 10 of the price changes in Newton. And again, we're getting into why this report is 26 stinking pages long, right? So, sorry if I'm making you dizzy by going through. And so then here's all the 10 pending properties. Again, I don't encourage you to do them this way. I just wanted to show you. Then these are the 10 most recent closed properties in Noonan. And then we only have one distressed property in the city limits of Noonan, kind of thing.
Only one?
And it's off market now. But yeah, and so,
Wow.
but you can see how, like, it's that report in and of itself. some really great information. It is, but is that too much? And I mean, and again, in my opinion, I'll go back and pull out 1 or 2 parameters and maybe a list of active properties, and then share that out on social media, share that out to my database, to different clients. I mean, it downloads it as a PDF, so I can attach it, I can text it out, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of things that we can do with that report. So in most cases, I'll come in here and I would turn off, all the different, some of the different ones in there. I would turn off, like especially all the change types, price change, pending, closed, distressed. I'd turn all that off. I might have new listings. You can also, get to decide how many you want to list on there, that kind of thing. Over in here. So if I don't, I could do 10, 20, or 50 homes. It depends on how many there are, kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And can you see how this can be a really useful tool to be able to, because, this kind of data is really kind of rare, and we have access to this data, but taking it and putting it into a practical application that we can use to generate more business is really a great thing for us, kind of thing. I mean, it's so easy to, one of the big things, like, especially like Facebook content and all social media is, we're always fighting to try and produce content, but we have a ton of content at our fingertips that don't take any time to pull. And it immediately makes you the subject matter expert just by sharing this out. I mean, we could come in and share a neighborhood report on Monday. We could share a school report on Tuesday. We could share bits and pieces. I mean, we really only generated 3 reports right now, and we could definitely share this information every single week, just in prospecting with potential clients and that kind of thing.
Wow.
Questions? I'm going to check online real quick again, see if we have anything else in here.
I have a question.
Yes.
How much is it to be a member of the board?
All the boards are different prices, but because you're going to join GAR, you're going to join your local board. So here it's going to be the Noonan Coweta Board of Realtors. Fayetteville is going to be Fayetteville, Metro South Association of Realtors, whatever. When you join the local board, about 1/3 of that also goes to GAR, Georgia Association of Realtors. So you get that, as well as the rights to use GAR forms, and then that also makes you a member of NAR, the National Association of Realtors. So you have access to all 3.
Okay.
All right. So, we are kind of rolling. All right. It is 10:54. So we're going to take a 15-minute break because we've been here. You believe we're almost halfway through on our time. So, we're going to take a 15-minute break. So we're going to, it's 10:55. So we'll jump back in at 11:10 and get started. I'm going to, let's see. Well, surely they're going to. Yeah, I know. We all have to go tinkle. So,
I didn't mean Brandon.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to jump back in at 11:10. 11:10, we're going to get started. And so if you guys have any questions online, please post them in the Q&A. We'll get started here in just a few minutes after some of our folks go and make rain. So we'll take a little break.
Oh, Lord.
All right. Well, let's see here. We got a Q&A. Uh-oh. All right. So first one says, do you realize how many times you say kind of thing? All right, you're right. So I'll try not to say that anymore. That's hilarious. And you are very observant, and I will try not to say kind of thing.
They actually asked you that?
Oh, that's all right. That's good.
Oh,
I'm all about those. So that works out really good. All right, folks, we're about to ready to jump back in. So if you would, please make sure that your
phone
license
is on
number,
silent.
your phone is on silent. That you wouldn't put your name and license number in there, showing that you're back from the break and that kind of thing. If you have any other observations about any of the other weird quirks I do, that's cool too. I love those. I got no problem. So we're gonna kind of jump right back in here, and now we're gonna move over and we're gonna play in commercial for just a minute. Now, this is not normally a place where a lot of residential agents go, but a lot of times residential agents don't, most residential agents don't have a lot of access to commercial data. You now do have some information to commercial data as well as, I mean, I'm not saying it is extensive. When it comes to commercial, you'll see that there's a lot of commercial agents that don't list their property anywhere. Like it's all part of that good old boy network, that kind of thing. A lot of your pay services like LoopNet and CoStar, their data is not going to be in here. They don't play nice with other folks. But for the ones where they can pull the data they're going to, which is better than nothing, if that makes any sense. And so this is going to pull the information up. And so all we're going to do is right here up on the top left-hand corner, we're just going to toggle commercial. Okay. So now, first thing I want to do is one is we can search properties, which we'll do in a second, but I want to take you through a couple of different things. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into research again, like we have all the other times, and we're going to start off by going into site selection. Now this may sound weird, but let's just kind of play with it kind of thing. I want to show you how this whole thing works. So this is in helping people, or really helping your business clients to help identify areas that make sense for them to open a business, or to operate a business in. So let's change this up. We're going to go down here and we're going to go into Griffin, Georgia. How's that for weird? Now we could also select an area on the map. We could also highlight just an area on the map, do the same thing. And then once we do that, you're going to come in here and you're going to say, select an attribute, who they are, what they do, where they live, what they buy, facts and stats. So let's go in and let's look at who they are. And then we're going to select, let's select net worth. And so now we get to come in here and say, we're going to see average net worth, median net worth, that kind of stuff. We could go all the way through. And then we're going to hit run analysis. And so this is going to pull up. So this is Griffin, Georgia. And so we can fine tune it into a little bit more if we wanted to where it will identify areas and that kind of thing for us. So you can see that the area in here with the highest net worth is going to be down here in this little area. So if you're looking for high net worth individuals, this would be a good place. So if you wanted, let's say that you were a financial planner, would this be a good place to open your business? Is some place near this area?
Yeah.
Yes, it would be, kind of thing. Now we're going to go back here, and again, I'm going to take you through it again. So I come back here and go, it doesn't really matter where we go. So we're going to go back into Griffin again, just to so.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I saw Indiana.
Wait a minute. Oh, well, now that kind of information, it will have those kind of information.
I'm from
naturally,
Indiana,
kind of
that's what I
thing.
saw.
So, how about what they buy?
Okay.
So, how about, let's see, dining out. There you go. So dining out. Do we want to see all dining out?
Yeah.
Or restaurants, lunch, dinner, breakfast? I mean, because this thing, but let's just do all dining out. But if you had someone looking for just like a breakfast only lunch, that kind of stuff. So let's do that. Hit run analysis. And so sometimes it doesn't highlight. Sometimes you need to nail it down a little bit more. So these are the areas where people eat out more than other areas in Griffin, Georgia. So if I was looking to open a restaurant, where would be good areas for me as your realtor to help find? And so like, let's say if I was looking for a gas station, we could go in and look at traffic count. If I was looking for a dry cleaner, we could go in and look at different attributes. There really is so many different attributes that we could break down. Like it would take a long time for me to try and pull out all the different information kind of thing. Housing, even though that sounds interesting. I'm sorry. Let's go back to who they are, and let's see. Let's see, here we are. Sorry, I'm trying to. I mean, I'm in the wrong one. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But industry, so what they do, industry of employment. You know, like some businesses are gonna feed off other types of businesses that they really want to be in, kind of thing. Where they live, we can see how many are rural, that kind of thing. No, it's not that good. How about what they buy, kind of thing? So I can see, how many buy phones, alcoholic beverages, apparel, dining out, housing, we could see what kind of houses that they buy, kind of thing. And so like if you're a company like, say, Aldi or Trader Joe's, that they do their site selection based on appreciating property values. We can see where the appreciating property values are. So you can see how this can be a pretty cool tool to be able to help your clients in there, kind of thing. And so, make sense?
Yes.
And so that's one of those things where this is part of that information overload. Like there really is a whole lot. And we don't have a ton of commercial, most residential agents have a ton of commercial clients, but there really is a good bit of data for those of you that do work with some limited commercial or work with commercial at all, kind of thing. The research part of here is really pretty cool. Now, that is, commercial site selection. What about commercial map insights? So this is the next thing. And so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come in here. And so, we get rid of this. So, we can choose a saved area, or we can come in here and, do we want, we'll just go back to Noonan, Georgia again here, kind of thing. And so this is Noonan, Georgia, but remember, we're under commercial now. Okay.
Right.
So this is Noonan here. And so so this is the kind of map. And so these will show you, like if you wanted to, I could come here and get a list. And this is going to show me a list of the commercial properties in Noonan that are listed right now. And we'll look at that in just a second. But first, I kind of wanted to get to, I want to show you this. So I can zoom in or out on the map. I can expand out to full screen. I can view the map again. I can draw, if I just wanted to take, I could just draw an area if I wanted to. Same with driving instance. Points of interest, I can put that on if I wanted to show the different points of interest, that kind of thing. I can show schools, but really data layers is where I want to show you. So we're going to go in here and go data layers, kind of thing. And so in here, well, it sounds interesting. And it is. And so how about population who are children? Apply. So I'm opening a daycare center. Where should I be? In Noonan, Georgia. Well, the darker the area, the more kids there are, the more of the population with children are. How easy was that to help identify a client looking for those?
Yeah.
The data layers is really, really cool. How about median disposable income? I'm a dry cleaner, and we know that in areas with a higher median disposable income. So again, the darker area. So if I was going to open my dry cleaner, where should my dry cleaner be? Well, it should probably be over here near Summer Grove, or over here on the north side, or over here more towards Tyrone, right? And so that means that's a really good place that matches, because sometimes your commercial clients will be like, I'm looking for this. You can also see average household size. That sounds funny, but some businesses like to track, they do better with bigger families, that kind of stuff. And then, so like estimated home values, this is another one. So like we talked about, like Aldi and Trader Joe's, they go into they use this data on a regular basis for their site selection. So you can just look right here and say, gosh, there's 5 or 6 areas that could probably be good areas for an Aldi kind of thing, because they're gonna go and plunk themselves right in the middle of where the higher values are. That's where they like to be.
Wow.
And so, again, pulling these kind of things up is really, I mean, is it really hard to do? No. So, I mean, you can see that, you know, what percentage of the folks in Noonan are seniors? So, if you operated a business that tailored towards elder care, senior care facilities, healthcare even, would this be great? This dark area right up here would probably be the best place to put your business,
Right.
because you're going to be closer to your customers.
So all the dark areas are the ones.
Well, you'll see on the bottom down here, it will show you a sliding scale.
Oh,
So
okay.
you can see that normally the darker, the more pronounced. So like here, if it's darker, it means that it's over 33% of the population
Okay.
are seniors.
Yeah.
So, and so if you had a business that want, and because a lot of times, especially with your, sometimes they have consumer information that they're trying to target. And sometimes, especially with newer businesses, things like that, they're like, I don't know where I need to be. And at that point, you just start, you kind of put your thinking cap on kind of thing. And so if you had a doctor say, look, I'm looking to open my own practice, what kind of clients do you work with? I mean, do you tailor towards, first-time patients, elder patients, that kind of stuff? We can come in here and really be able to help identify certain areas kind of thing, based on all these kind of information. How about if you're a divorce attorney? We don't like to talk about that, but again, this is the married, unmarried percentages kind of thing. If you're going to open a bar, married, unmarried, married kind of thing. So there's all sorts of really cool things that you can pull up on these heat maps and data layers, depending on the information that you're trying to find. Make sense?
Yep.
And then also, I mentioned it earlier, but there is your FEMA flood maps. That's also in there. And so you can use that as an overlay to see where are the flood zones in your particular area. This comes off the FEMA ones, kind of thing.
Wow.
Questions on that? All right. Let's see.
Interesting.
See if there's any other questions on here. Okay. Well, no, just the one on my kind of thing. Sorry. I'm going to keep saying that. We're going to give it a shot anyway. All right. So we've been playing with our data, with our different layers and levels and that kind of stuff. So let's go back and let's kind of start again here. So we're going to come in here and we're going to do a commercial search. You want to do Griffin or Noonan? Is there any place y'all want to go? Yeah. Noonan. Okay, we have a Noonan one. All right. So this is here in Noonan. Now, everything that's on the map, if you will click on the list tab, it will show you, this is a list of all those properties on that map. If you go into the grid form, it will give you a little bit of a picture if you'd like to see it this way instead. It's still just a list of the properties, but it lets you see, basically it shows the picture first. And so, a lot of your commercial properties, those are going to be undisclosed on the amounts, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I saw that. Every one of them says undisclosed.
Well, not everyone, we just, it groups them together kind of thing. And
Oh,
so,
there's one.
and so now we're getting into commercial leases. And just so you know, a lot of commercial lease space is based on the price per square foot on an annual rate. So like here, I think we're $15 a foot. You take your square footage times the number of feet in the property. That's how you work out what your monthly rent would be, kind of thing. So that's going to be $9 a foot, $12 a foot, that kind of stuff. 16. So all these are leases, kind of thing. And now we start getting into rental amounts per month to lease those spaces, kind of thing.
Okay.
And then, but if you keep scrolling down, eventually you're going to get down into where you're actually looking at purchasing property and that kind of stuff. So here, see where it says multiple listings on here?
Yeah.
That means that it was listed in multiple places, is all that really means,
Oh.
kind of thing. And so now we're starting getting into more and more properties where you can kind of see now, special lease, land, sometimes you'll see it listed as basic commercial, or special, those kind of things. And you can kind of scroll through. Now, what if you want to go see one? Just click on it. So we can see, and we'll go through the residential property in just a second, but same kind of thing to show you a property summary, last time it was sold, that kind of information. The commercial will not give you an RVM or an AVM. Those are the automated valuation model and a realtor's valuation model are things that happen on the residential side that you'll see more about in just a minute. This is the commercial side. So this won't show those kind of values.
Oh,
But
okay.
it does show who the listing agent is, how to get in touch with them, gives you, your same description, that kind of stuff. If there's any kind of tenants, it's going to tell you about that, price change histories, whole 9 yards, all the features, everything, basically. Pulls all the stuff from tax, from deed records, if there's a mortgage on the property, it pulls all that up right then and there.
Oh, okay.
And so, and by the same token, sorry, if I'm making you nauseous, I apologize. But we go back to search results, I can come in here. Well, if it stops spinning. And, I'm just gonna scroll down here, but if I wanted, I could just come in here and select multiple properties in here and then go and create a report just like we've done before. Kind of thing.
Oh,
Send that, I can take that and then depending on what I wanted to do, I could do a trade area report, which talks about what's going on in the trade area of those listed properties, that kind of thing. And include those properties in there if I want to. We're not going to go into that right now because I want to make sure we have enough time. So again, it is limited to the scope of garbage in, garbage out. Like the more information it has, the more information it's going to give you in terms of listings. I know that we want more commercial listings. It's hard to find that, but you're never going to get all of them because there's a lot of folks don't list their property at all on any commercial listing site. And then there's some that don't play nice with RPR and won't share their data. And so there's a lot of ways that you have, but first of all, for nothing, you've got something that's going to get, and it is going to pull from Georgia MLS, going to pull from FMLS, Craigseed, Revitas, those kind of things to try and get you as much information as you can.
okay.
Questions? Much greater access to commercial than anything else we got. So I just wanted to check and see if we had any other questions or Q&A. I don't see any. All right. Well, let's kind of jump back in here. So we are still in commercial. We're going to switch back to residential. How do we do it? Toggle the button.
That's it.
Yeah, it was really difficult to
Easy
do
peasy.
kind of thing. All right, so let's start doing, so first we're going to do a property search and then we're going to do a CMA. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to pull up, let's see, what's my property? Oh, there it is, 212 Lays Tray. So normally you just start typing in the name and it'll pull up all the different things that are in there. So I'm pulling up
McDonald's.
212 Lee's Trace and McDonald. Well, I live in McDonald's, so it's just an easy one for me to pull, kind of thing. And so let's go through what is the information that you can get on a property. And I want to talk about it for just a minute because like when it's time to go on a listing appointment, when it's time to go, especially when you're getting ready to do a CMA, for years, I teach a CMA class. And part of that CMA is where I go in and I pull up, the map and I pull up Google Maps and I see what the property looks like from a map view and sometimes from a street view. I see what the overall area looks at. I pull up tax records and see what past sales and mortgages are on there. I try and get market data for what's out there already. I always go and check Zillow and Realtor.com. Not that I'm going to use their values, but I want to know before I go on a listing appointment, what do these people have as expectations before I ever walk in the door? That kind of thing. So it helps for me to have that kind of information. What I like about RPR is it doesn't really pull, it doesn't pull like Zillow and Realtor, but it does do an AVM or an RVM value. And we'll talk about that in a second. but it pulls so much information right from the very beginning that is in one place that we don't have to pull from 700 different locations. I don't have to go and pull this from Google Maps and then go to the tax records and pull this and then go here and pull this. And you know, like it's all right here. And so I just kind of want to walk you through it real fast. So here we go. So this is 212 lease trace. Now, let me start off. Don't go hit up the people at 212 lease trace. I pulled this address out of random. This is not a, hey, they're ready to sell. Okay, that's not what this is. Okay, I don't know any information. And if you go prospect to these people, you're on your own because I just pulled an address. Okay, so this is all publicly available information kind of thing. Yeah. Why are all these realtors calling me? So this is 212 lease trace. So I can see this is what the property looks like, street view kind of thing. I can scroll up and down the street. Look right here. I can see what this street looks like.
Yeah, and the house across the street.
I can see the whole 9 yards right from within the RPR platform.
Okay.
I can also come up here. Oh, there's what the house looks.
Oh,
What it looks
yeah.
like right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can zoom in, I can zoom out, I can see, you know, is
The
it
whole
near major
neighborhood.
commuter routes, you know? How does this property look, kind of thing? Where does it lie, you know? Those kind of things. So immediately, I love being able to use the mapping feature, and the fact that you can use it inside the platform is a really cool thing. I mean, no matter what, if I'm going to a listing appointment now, I know, look, it looks like a little 3.2, maybe a 4.2, 4.2.5, something like that. You know, it's a little cute little ranch. It might have a finished room over the garage kind of thing, but doesn't really look that way. But immediately I know more about the property. So let's come down here a little bit more. And so now we get into, you know, the property summary. And so this property has an RVM. Now, what an RVM is, a realtor's valuation model. And if you hit this little, you know, hover over the icon kind of thing, RVM estimated value is generated by an automated valuation model that uses on-market, off-market MLS listing data, publicly recorded sold data to provide an estimated property value. An RVM is our most accurate estimated value. Now, RVMs and AVMs are available for single-family residents, condos, and smaller multifamilies. Here's the difference. If the system feels it's really comfortable with the value, it's going to give it an RVM. If it doesn't feel comfortable, it's going to give it an AVM. An RVM and an AVM, what are those? What are other words in our industry out there for that? Zestimate, desktop valuations, those kind of things.
Right.
This is basically, it runs a lot of the same algorithms that's used on Zillow, on Realtor.com, Redfin, those kind of things. And so this is just basically an off the cuff, just based on the properties nearby, what is, you know, based on current values and square footages and those kind of things, what's this property worth? So it's going to give you just a basic, you know, like, hey, the computer computer says it's worth this much kind of thing. Now, we do have the ability, if I can say it, to come in and we can refine the value, which we'll do in just a minute, in a moment, but I want to kind of walk you through it first. So down here, it's going to show it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,600 square foot. I can see who the owner is. Why is it important for me to see who the listed owner is? You ever go on a listing appointment and find out that the person you're speaking with is not the person whose name is on the deed? So that's whose name is on the deed kind of thing. I can see last time it was sold. You know, I can see what kind of property values that it's been running. This confidence score shows how confident they are in their price. Now down here is where all the property facts are, and so you know we are the experts, and sometimes we find out that some of the data that's on here, you know, like we sold a house not far from there that had a finished area over the room. I mean, finished area upstairs. It had an additional 400 square foot to add in. That's a big deal, and it really does change your values, kind of thing.
Wow.
After that, how about the schools? Well, I'm not saying the schools are great. I'm just saying I have, but now we immediately know how are the schools, and you've already seen the school reports. These are the exact same school reports. So if you wanted to look up the schools, if you had someone named, so if you're representing a buyer, you might want to send the schools report so they know what the schools are like for this
Right.
property, because they're in the searching section. As the ARP livability index again, you can use that if you want. Then it says, just some of the basic information on there, same things you get off the tax record. Walkability score, of course, is in the suburbs, not gonna be that good. Owner occupied. How does it decide that it's owner occupied? Because the tax bill is sent to the property address. If the tax bill is sent to a different address, that means that it's investor owned kind of thing. And then, it even has all the way down to the legal description.
It actually tells you that, who it's sent to,
Well, no,
who the tax bill is sent
yeah,
to?
you can pull that up, it's public record. So, and then there's a place where if I wanted to add notes in here, I could put any kind of notes in here. If I wanted to, I can make a note on the property and send it to a client. I could do that right there in here. Then here's all the tax information, the assessed values, that kind of stuff. You can see that they filed a homestead exemption. Then we can see whose name is on the deed, when was it done. They've owned this house since 2002. Here's their mortgage information. So, looks like they bought it in 2002, but looks like they refied it in 2012, kind of thing. But the loan amount was only $80,000. The home is worth how much?
200.
200 something? Are these folks in good shape?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of thing. So, yeah, by the way, you can scroll across and see all of the any kind of mortgage records that have been done. You can see all the mortgages that have been recorded on this property since it was built, basically. So that kind of, now that's one side. Now this thing also splits up, and again, we have the map over here. And so if you click on this, it will open an interactive map. We're not going to do that right now. I want to run you really quickly through Valuate. And so we're going to analyze a property from an investor's point of view. This is a free service that comes in here. And so you can come in here, view your training, do all that kind of stuff if you want to. I'm just going to give you the down and dirty version because we only have so much time to do.
Okay.
So you do that, it automatically opens up a new window. And so you're able to come in here and it's going to pull up and it's going to pull all the information from RPR and say, here's the property name, 212 lease trace. It puts in all the information that have been that you have in there. You can even put in there, how long does your client want to hold this property for? They want to hold it for 5 years or 10 years, that kind of stuff. How many equity players they have, and you can hit submit. And then this is going to work out a cash flow and internal rate of return on your client's investment on this property. Now you do have to, you have to put in there what the rental rates and those things going on, but if you have an investor looking to buy rental property, that kind of stuff, how amazing is it to be able to offer this kind of information? And you saw how much work it was for me to generate this report, right? Like I am wore out from hitting click, click, click. So, I mean, you can see, this is the purchase price. I could put in there any of the sale information that I want. I can even upload an image in here. I can put in, if we have any kind of leverage returns, I can put in, it's going to pull property taxes automatically. And it will calculate all the way out to cash on cash returns. I mean, it's one of those where the more information, you spend a few minutes putting more information in, it really does give you a full cash flow, internal rate of return, equity returns, and then cash on cash returns at the press of a button. And so, again, how hard is it to look really intelligent and to be able to speak an investor's language? That, when you start working with investors, being able to have, this is not something, unless you work with investors, that you would really care about that much, but we do have a lot of residential agents that work with a lot of investors. A lot of residential investors deal with realtors on a daily basis, and being able to offer this And, you know, like I said, you're not gonna use this every day, but having this as one of those tools in your toolkit is a really great resource to have. And again, you see how difficult that was to be able to do. You can come in here, change any of the dashboards around. You can see what the different leveraged assets. You can see what cash flow runs on there. You do have to, like, again, you have to put a little bit more information in. But how tough was that?
Wow.
Yeah. So when you have an investor say, I'm interested in doing this property, I'm interested in this property, and you're like, well, I can run you a full cash on cash analysis on that. I promise you, you are their realtor of choice at that point, right?
Yeah.
Because how many realtors can do that?
Wow.
And honestly, you know, back in my day, you know, we used to do that on an Excel spreadsheet, hammer that thing
Yeah,
out, and
yeah.
and take hours and hours and
Yeah.
pulling all the, you know, the fact that it's all on there and it's like, you know, stupid proof almost kind of thing. I mean, you have to put in good data, but it's super easy to do, and I find that to be a really nice feature that's automatically built into here. So, questions?
So that was refined value, right?
Well, that's
We just
evaluate. So right here under
Evaluate,
additional
okay.
resources, right here, you'll see, like when you first come down, it's on the right-hand side, right here, and then you just hit analyze property.
Okay, and then you can also do a CMA, it looks like. on
Oh, we're
there.
going to.
Oh,
Yeah, we're
okay.
still going.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We got lots to do here, okay?
Okay.
So, you know, you can also come in here, put any additional photos. You can have seller proceeds in here if you wanted to put that in. You can compare the historical records. You can also see how does this zip code compare out to, you know, all the different areas and that kind of stuff. And so you can also, you know, you can also pull up this neighborhood and do the exact same thing through there. So that is the summary. But now, again, we have all the tabs like we did on all the other, and now we're getting into more information overload, right? So here's all the history on here. And so here's the, you know, the assessed value versus the AVM or RVM value. So you can see it's, you know, property values have been appreciating, when the last time it was sold, how much it was sold for. Again, tax info, mortgage records, sorry. Here's your charts. And sometimes these are, you know, some folks like to get into here. So here's home values, basing it on this particular property, the zip code, Henry County, or overall for the state. Median list price, sales volume versus volume, list price versus volume, listing inventory, how many, just what kind of inventory, distressed properties are in the area, that kind of thing. What are the median sales price per square foot for this house versus the comps? So, you know, because a lot of folks like to value things, but, and we do a combination of, you know, sales price per square foot is not always the only variable, but that is one of those variables to kind of look at. Price per square foot of homes sold, price per bedroom of homes sold, like all 3-bedroom homes sell for this price in this area, all the way down to age.
Wow.
Now we get into, now the refined value and CMA, those are going to be more, we'll get into those two, so I'm going to skip those right now. But then the neighborhood one also, if you click on neighborhood, well, guess what? Well, right now that's just pulling up the whole, you'll notice it pulled up the whole zip code.
Oh.
So sometimes it will pull that up. If it knows the neighborhood, like, depends on if the last time it was lit, like if it was an agent list, like this is pulling off of tax records. So tax records, a lot of tax records don't name the subdivision or the neighborhood, and so then it will default. But now if it was a listing and it had been listed in the Emerald Point neighborhood, then it would pull up the Emerald Point neighborhood, if that makes sense. So, I went away from it. So let's go back to in here. So we're back here in our property. So first thing I want to look at is I want to talk about refining the value on the RVM, because, you know, I went in, you know, we went and we talked to these folks, and I know that they have a finished room over the garage, and it has an additional 325 square feet.
Oh, wow.
Well, if I come in here and I hit refine value, it says that I can come in here and so, what did I just do, Alan? So it's 16, 19, 24. So we're going to change that to 1924 and hit apply. That added $53,000 of value
Wow.
on there. And so if you come over here and you look at the summary now, we were at 228. If I remember right, is that where we were?
Yeah,
Well, now our assessed value is 281
wow.
of where it is. Now, that was just one of the things that we could do on there. You know, we could come in here under edit value and we could refine it by, you know, like hey, we just added a deck, these other kind of things. Think of it as a pretty quick way to just kind of edit values very
Wow.
quickly. You also have this slider scale. So, you know, like average market conditions, well, those are pretty good. Exterior, it's got hardy plank side, or it's got some other kind of siding. The interior is good. You can just kind of move this thing back and forth. You can see that as it stands right now, I've got a plus $415. You know, but depending on whatever attributes it is, well, once you do it, then you just come in here and get, yep, and well, where are we? Apply. And so now we are. So if you look at the summary again, we're at 274, 747 now, just based on those quick down and dirty
Whoa.
facts and stats. So now I could send that to a client and show this is what the computer says. The computer says no, those kind of things. I said it again, didn't I? Yes, I did. Absolutely did. Now I'm gonna be thinking about that all the time. Thank you. All right, questions about just pulling up a single property, getting more information than you could ever use on it.
Okay.
All right, now, at this point, we could come in here and create a report. And we could send out a property report. We could send it to a potential buyer. We could use it on our listing presentation. Again, if you look at it, this is gonna have 28 pages, which I think is a bit crazy kind of thing. And so you can go scroll through and look at it, but let's hit our little plus sign here, and then let's see. I don't want to, maybe I do or don't want my net sheet in there, and we can put it in there. It's going to give us our property summary, values, listing, estimated, comp analysis. It's going to have home facts, homeowner facts, extended homeowner facts. Maybe I don't want the ARP livable. It's going to list any photos that it finds of the property, any past listing photos. Sometimes there'll be 3 or 4 pages of those kind of thing. It'll also give you a comp analysis and history. It's going to give you assessed values, mortgage records. Sometimes this is off-putting, especially with your sellers. Sometimes, you know, like I think everybody knows that there's a lot of public information out. My only caveat to throw out to you here is that more is not always better. Sometimes people can be like, you know what my mortgage is, like already. So I don't always include the mortgage information, but you can. And then it has all the neighborhood stats, school summary, and then RPR again. So we're going to run this one again. And I'm just going to kind of let you see what the single property report does.
Wow.
So again, this is another one that is beefy, for lack of a better term. There's just a lot to it. So in just a second, it'll be done. I'll pull it up just to kind of show you how it looks. And then we're going to go in and start playing with the CMA.
Okay.
Well,
Oh,
it is. You know, the gnomes need to work faster. At least I don't have a spinning wheel of death. So while it does, I am going to see if we have any other questions. Nothing in Q&A. All right. I do have a question that was in chat though. It says this is part of NAR. Can you pull info on the other states if you are only a member of one area? Here it's going to be about information in and information out. You can pull neighborhood stats, figures, public information. It will give you. But when it comes to specific property data, it's going to pull that based on your MLS and you time that in with the MLS there. Does that make sense? So like, most of the time it's not going to give you a ton of information on outside of your area. It's going to base that on the MLSs that you have access to.
Oh,
Because it's not trying to give you consumer data, stuff that you can find on Zillow. It's not trying to give you that kind of thing. So here's our report. We trimmed it down to a minor 26 pages. Sarcasm. So there's our picture. Here's where the property sits on a map. Has the current estimated value with my refined value on there, because that's what we did just really quickly. We just did that down and dirty, like, that's what it said out originally, but that wasn't taking, if I was talking to a client, it'd be like, that wasn't taking in the additional square footages, those kind of things. I know, those kind of things. All the home facts, extended home facts, because home facts wouldn't have just done it. It does have a list of the schools that are going to be in there. It has how the refined value came up. It goes over what changes you made to any of the refined value for the market conditions. Then it shows if any of the comps that are in there, what the property history is, the property report, which shows all your mortgage records and deed records on there. And again, you can choose to do that or not do that. Any kind of financing activity that's happened on the property. Shows a heat map. So showing like where does this property sit in relation to the property values and those kind of things. Flood zone. It'll show you where it resides, if it is in a flood zone per se. And you can see that this is the epitome of information overload. I could just keep scrolling. We're about halfway down the page here.
wow.
So again, I do believe that this is, in my personal opinion, this is more information than the average consumer really needs. So, I guess my challenge here is I do want to provide, and sometimes we have clients that are those information hogs. They just want it all in. Well, I may send that client everything. For the vast majority of them, I'm going to send them the ones that are really going to pertain to them. Price sold per bedroom is just not a number that normally really resonates or has a lot of practical application kind of thing. Sizes of homes sold, I mean, especially if you're going with a seller or even with a buyer, like, do they really care what bigger homes are going for or smaller homes are going for? They care about what their home's going for.
Right.
Then we get into the people and stats charts, where it shows the high school levels and that kind of stuff around for the neighborhood and the area. Again, it just won't have specific neighborhood because it didn't have a specific neighborhood listed as part of the original tax records. Occupation, this is all that same data that we pulled up off the neighborhood reports here. Then it has the schools along with their grades versus the county. Then it even has the breakdown of all three schools along with that information. So you can see that is a lot for a client to take in. Now, we're going to go back here and let's go back and go into 212 lease trace again now. So let's talk about, hey, we need to do a CMA and see if this is, is this a property we want to make an offer on? I want to list my home. What should it be listed for? Those kind of things. So we're going to come in here and then it's nothing all that exotic. Create CMA. Now, first thing it's going to ask you is you have to select what type of analysis to do. You can either do a comparative analysis or you can do a sales comparative analysis. Now, they both sound like the same thing, but there is a big difference. So a sales comparison analysis is really detailed. Like it's going to require you to have like an appraiser, like this is much more along an appraiser's level, where how to, like to go from a two bathroom to 2.5 bathroom will add $7,500, an appraiser was gonna know those kind of numbers. If you don't know those kind of numbers, and if you don't want to bash your head into the wall 17 times while doing a CMA, just do the comparative analysis. You can hit this little, what's the difference thing, and I mean, they'll give you a video and all that kind of stuff. It's just, trust me when I say just go with the comparative analysis kind of thing. So very first thing it's gonna ask you to do is that it wants you to confirm the home facts. Now, so we're gonna hit confirm facts. Now, we already made a change in the square footage once in there. And so that's in there. So we get to decide if that really is the right square footage or not, and any kind of changes that we need to make, bedroom, bathroom counts, those kind of things. So once you do that, you'll confirm the facts and close that down. Now, over here on the left, it's going to give you a series of steps. So the first thing is we decide we're going to do a comparative analysis. We're going to confirm home facts. Then we're going to search for comps. Then we're going to make adjustments. Then we're going to review our analysis, and then we're going to generate the seller's report. So those are our steps. So we confirmed our facts. So let's go find comps. So so first thing I do is going to pull up this window here, which shows what our subject property is. The last time that it, what the date is, what was the amounts that we have, the square footage, is that kind of thing. We can come in here and add a known property, or we're just going to search our area for several properties in here. Now, one thing I like to do is scroll down a little bit more, is I like to draw shapes. I like to draw custom shapes. Now, you can see in here that this neighborhood really consists of this whole area right here, right? So I could pull just within a certain mile radius. But is that, an appraiser is going to pick from within the subject neighborhood first. If they don't have enough comps, then they're going to expand out to a half mile, and then they'll expand out more. For our purposes today, all that we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we're going to draw a shape, and I'm going to use a polygon. And so I'm going to just come in here and I'm going to go here, here. All right, that's weird. Boom. And I'm going to, so once you complete that polygon, then you can say, I can hit search this area or save. So I'm going to hit save. All right, search this area. So it's going to pull up now all the other homes that have been in this property, or sorry, in this subject neighborhood kind of thing. And so it searched in my custom area, single family homes, active, pending, and closed within the last 6 months. Now, what if I wanted to change that? Hit modify search. And so, you know what? I want to go within the last 12 months. Or I want to run with a specific date range. I can also come in here and put active under contract in there, kind of thing. I could do any other properties that I wanted to. I could put any other minimums and maximums that I want for the search parameters. And I really do like to put in a lot less search parameters. And this is take this as a practical tip, because what happens when an agent puts in 0 square footage? It's not going to show my property. What happens when they mess up different things? It's not going to show my property. It's not going to show the comp that I want to use. So a lot of times I take off square footage. Not that it's not important. It's just that there's still 15, 20% of agents that still only put down 0. And well, there we go. And so once we have that, then we hit search. And so I don't know if I ended up with any more or not. Well, we definitely ended up with more because we were up for a year than before. So now we are. And so now this is going to show anything recently closed, expired, closed, or withdrawn or canceled, and then where the subject property is. Now we come down here, and now is where it gets really easy. So we can see when a property closed. So this one closed on 5/27. I can see the prices, the square footage. Now, generally speaking, and this is a CMA, I'm not an appraiser, so I don't have to hit a minimum square footage range. maybe as an appraiser, I might be able to go up to 22.5% variance. I'm looking for, roughly anything. So, I mean, we're at 1,900 square foot roughly. It can be about 25% off. So 20%, what is that? About 400 or 500 square foot. I'm just trying to get general value. I want to get property that really does kind of match up with our subject property. So I'm going anywhere between 1,400 and 2,400 kind of thing. So if we did that, should I use this first comp for 2,950 square foot? I probably won't use that. Underneath here, I got this one so I'm probably going to use this one as a comp. Now notice what happened when I did that. It automatically moved that over here into the comps being used, and it gave me a range based on the comps that I select. And so what I like about this is that this is basing the values on the data. So if I pick comps that are ridiculous, what kind of value is that going to give me? It's going to give me ridiculous values. So let's see. Then this one here, I might use. Just trying to go through here. This is another one that's a little bit bigger than I really want to go to, so I'm probably not going to go with that one. This one here, 1,800. That one looks pretty good. Let's use that. All right, this one, obviously, this is a public record sold for $144,000. Does that make any sense? No. So maybe it was sold to a family member, something like that. It wasn't a public, it wasn't it was something through public records. I'm not going to use that comp kind of thing. So we'll go all the way down through here, and so I'm not going to spend too much time because this is not a CMA class. I'm just trying to get up, some basic values that we can use, like 210. To be able to use. Now you'll notice all those properties we came in here, those are all the comps that we've selected. And so once you select all the comps that you want, we can go all the way through. We got 2 off-market properties that we could have used, closed, those kind of things. We're just going to hit update valuation and close. And so this takes us to our next step. And so you can see that the analysis of our comps has us at 235, 369, which is much closer to where we were on the original valuation, if you look, kind of thing. So now we get to come in and do adjust comps. And this is where we would go through and make adjustments if we were going to. I'm not a big make adjustments guy. I do teach a class on doing CMAs, and I don't have the time to go through an entire CMA today. But one easy thing you can do is you can come in and just, you can do better, worse, that kind of thing, all the way through on the comps kind of thing, just to redo values, that kind of stuff. It just kind of tells you what's up, what's down. You can compare it across the board. You can make any kind of changes to the notes, that kind of thing. Once you make those adjustments, then you come in, and now this is the result of your comp analysis. You'll notice this has an edit button in here. This is just running the numbers based off what it has. If you come in and hit edit, now what can you do? I can make this $299,000. I wouldn't, but I can just hit cancel, and so right now I can see it's at 252. But maybe you have certain market knowledge you want, and so I'm going to say this is and we're looking at and then hit save. And so now that listed it. Now, when this prints out, this was going to show what was the original value and what you changed it to. It doesn't let you you're not doing bait and switch. You're not just changing numbers. It's going to show that in there. Once you do that, create report. So now I kind of blew through this thing pretty quick today, but you can see how quickly that CMA really was. Now, this is another one where we have to be very careful, because it pulls up the seller's report with 81 pages on it, okay? Which is, yes, completely ridiculous, right? No one in the world's gonna do that. So we're gonna come in and hit the little plus sign. Now, I might actually keep my seller's net sheet on this one. And then you get to see where it's gonna give you subject property values, comp analysis, home facts, homeowner facts, extended home facts. You know, whether you choose to do that or not, you're more than welcome to. Refined values, historical photos, I don't like those. You know, do I want to have the property history in there? You may or may not. Sales and financing activity, it's going to show you market activity, everything that we've already seen on all these other reports in there. It just got it in there for days. And then, you know, in here, select property photos to include. Do you want 2 pages, all, or just the main photo only? How many market activity sections, how many properties is it going to send on each one? I always, if I'm going to use it, it's going to be all the way down there. It's going to be as low as I can do it. And then we're going to hit run report. Now, because it's normally 81 pages, how long do you think this thing's going to take? It takes a few minutes, okay? There we go. So while that is generating, does anybody have any questions? Did the CMA seem difficult to do?
No.
No. So here's where we're getting into. I really like some things I like about the CMA, and some things I'm not crazy about it. I like the CMA, and I think it does a really good job. I worry that we send so much information that we lose the real meat and potatoes of the CMA. The CMA is going to be based on, these are the comps that we've selected. This is what a buyer's willing to pay for your home in this market. That comes across really well, but there's so much other stuff that it can easily get kind of lost in there. And I know I keep singing that same kind of song, but use the information the way you want to. That's going to be best for your client. All right. I do have a Q&A. Let's see. Josephine Brown asks, explain how you determine the range of square footage that should be used. I normally use a 20% range either way. So, you know, on a 2,000 square foot house, that's 400 square foot roughly, swing range either way. So I can go down to 1,600 and up to 2,400. Just kind of as and that's just a general rule of thumb. You can go in and make adjustments based on square footage on every single property if you wanted to, that kind of stuff, but that's really up to you. I'm not a big fan of doing that, but those different appraisers will have different types of loans, have different variations on how far or close does that square footage have to be in order for them to be able to use it. Some it's like 18.5, some it's 22.5% of what those square footages ranges can be. Hopefully that helped. All right. Here we go. So this is our seller's report, but it's also our CMA. And so the seller's report is what's called the CMA. So it has a lot of the same things that we saw in the property report is what's all going to be in here, where it shows any of the kind of evaluation changes that we made, the same market activity reports. All this stuff is the same as what we've seen already. So there's nothing new. And so I'm just kind of going through it pretty quickly. I know. So once we get through that, now we have the comps map. This is where we start getting into what's really important. All that other stuff that we just looked at just seems to be mostly fluff. And I'll normally turn all that off if I'm just doing a CMA. And so this shows where all the properties are, as well as which ones that we used. And then it's going to show, you know, like here's the subject property. These are all the other properties we use, along with the basic facts and how they are. Then it has a breakdown of all the properties used in the comp. I mean, all the comp properties, so they can see in greater detail, you know, what was the closed price, sale price, all the way down through for all those properties. Sorry, I know I'm going fast. Then we get into the market activity report, which just shows what's going on in the overall area. And again, we get more into, these are area reports. This is nothing that we just pulled. And now we get again into those, do my sellers really care what happened in the 5-mile radius of the subject property? I don't think so. So I don't normally include those in there. Because if it uses those properties, now it lists those properties on this giant report. And so this is the pending report for anything pending in the 5-mile radius around the subject property. I don't normally use those either. So you can see why I think 81 pages is ridiculous and way more than people really need. And so I won't do any of that. Sorry, I'm trying to get down here to the end where it really matters. So I'll leave all that until we get down here into the recommended price strategy, where it shows user selected comps, market activities, those kind of things. And then it says, original estimate of value, changes based on home facts, the original estimate, the RVM, and my recommended sales price. So it even has a place in here for them to sign off on it. And then next is a seller's net sheet, which just as I can tell you that's a great practice to get in. If you want to do listings, do a seller's net sheet with every single client. You really need that. Well, then that's the one that we upload as well. Questions? And was that a lot of information? Yes.
Oh, yes, it was.
Yeah,
A lot.
it really is a lot of information. I know it is. But really, when you get into it, like I will normally cut out almost all of that information and just keep just use the CMA data. I'm not trying to be super. I want to use the product how it's going to best suit me and my clients, not how the product was like. I love that they have all that data, but I think for most of my sellers, when you put that much stuff in there, like what do I need to know? Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts.
Yeah.
All right. So that is, again, how we pull up properties and how we get all those different reports. Now on there, we can come in and so we can do the property report. We've already done that. We just did a seller's report. We can also do a mini property report, which is normally what I would recommend doing kind of thing. Think of it as a pared down version of that. So let's see, we can't come down here. So if we come down here and let's go. Sorry, scrolling down. Mini property report. So in here is just exactly what it says. We're gonna take a net sheet, just kind of the property summary, home facts, extended home facts or not, those kind of things. It doesn't have any of the sales comp data included in there. So you can see that this property is only about 12 pages long, which I find this property to be a much better property report to use. I wanted you to see all of them so you could decide what's best to use. But I do like the mini property report much better than I like the full property report. If you're going to use, what I find is that you end up gutting the full property report, which turns it kind of into a mini property report anyway. Evaluation workbook is done if you I'm back into the report section. So evaluation workbook, if we had gone with a more detailed CMA, then you would use the evaluation workbook. And then we've already done the market activity report, we've done the neighborhood report, and we've done the school report. So any questions about reports?
Well, when they put AARP on there, is that to know if it's like a ranch or?
No, it means that the American Associations of Retired People, it's some kind of a corporate kind of like.
I noticed you always take that out. I was just.
Well, just I don't mean to. I mean it sound anything bad, but like I'm not here to promote AARP, and I don't mind it. Like if I had a client that was interested in that data, then I would definitely include it. But
I just didn't know what kind of stuff it told.
No, it's some kind of relationship that NAR and RPR have with AARP. And so they provide some additional data and data points that comes from their data collection that could help senior home buyers and sellers in that information, but I just don't find it that useful for unless I had a senior home buyer.
Okay.
But that's again, I'm not bashing it, nothing like that. It's just
Right.
that's how I personally and on all these things, like opinions like armpits, everybody got one, most of them stink, but this is mine, and so hope that makes sense. All right. So we're gonna go back to the home page here, and we only got about 14 minutes left, so we're gonna kind of try and wrap things up. So we've gone all the way through the entire research. We've gone in, and now you know how to search for property. You know how to search by a map. You can search by neighborhoods, and we can do neighborhood and check out different neighborhoods. We can search school districts and search by the school district. We can do a residential market activity search, which gives us the overall facts and stats. We've been through commercial site selection and commercial map sites kind of thing. So we've done everything that's on the research tab. Let's talk about the marketing tab. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come in here and we're gonna prospect for residential clients. And so when we do that, it automatically starts a shortcut. And I'm gonna close this to kind of show you exactly the same thing. So these are our shortcuts in here. I haven't gone into any detail with them, but like if you click here on marketing where it says prospecting for residential clients, well, it's the same thing. I'm going to hit prospect for clients. And so it's going to say, all right, you're going to prospect for clients. Are they going to be buyers or sellers? All right. So we have a request to prospect for sellers. So we're going to hit sellers. And so it says it's going to immediately tell us what to do. Start by clicking research. Next, click map search. Here we are. Make sure you have residential toggled. Okay, got it. Enter an area such as a zip code. And so
30215.
30215. So you want Fayetteville.
Mhm.
All right, there we go. All right, so that pulls up all of Fayetteville. And so now it's telling us, click the filters icon. Has anything happened so far that's been hard to follow? Like seriously, like the little pink box pops up and tells you what to do. All right, first change your selection to public records. So we're gonna come over here instead of saying for sale release, we're gonna hit public records. Okay, next. It says for best results for public records, let's use the filter to reduce the number to 500 or less. Okay, so we're gonna do that. And so we're gonna come in here, and so we're gonna click the owner occupied box. All right, so we're gonna go with owner occupied properties. And next we're gonna select 5 to 10 and 10 to 15 years owned. Why is that? Why should we select 5 to 10 and 10 to 15?
More have to sell.
Yeah, I mean, like right now it's really running 10 years. The average seller has been in their home for 10 to 11 years right now.
That's true.
So, I mean, we could do, I mean, how, if somebody bought a house in the last 5 years, are they very likely to sell it? Not if you're prospecting kind of thing. So do that, hit OK next. And so now you can see that we have 322 results. And so now next we hit update and search. And now it's going to say, click the list view to see your results. So these are all the folks that have been off market properties. And it will show if they're off market, those kind of things based on our search parameters kind of thing. Now, if you will click on mailing labels, well, in here, you can choose which type of label that you want, or you can do a CSV file if you want to send it out directly into a spreadsheet kind of thing. You can save it as a PDF, or you can move it into one of the label types if you want it on that kind of thing. All right, and so next you can choose if you want it by the property address or the tax billing address. And so we were looking for vacant owner, or where an investor or people that own property, if it didn't live there, we could send this to their tax billing address. We could go by owner name or owner or current resident kind of thing. And then you can get all the properties. You can do owner occupied properties, or you can do absentee owner properties. All right, and so every month you have 2,000 records that 2,000 print. You can print 2,000 labels a month if you want. Now, if
Every
you're printing
month.
it on your printer.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have 2,000
Every
a month.
month.
Every month you can generate 2,000 of
Without
these.
them charging you anymore.
Right.
Okay.
And so you come down here and then you just hit print. So like I would have, if I hit print, that would just have been 314 of my 2,000 monthly allotment.
Oh my God.
So it is, so, again, if we come back up here and let's say we're gonna do prospecting for residential clients, we're gonna do buyers this time, we can do the exact same kind of thing. Come in, hit research, we're gonna do map search, we're gonna click up Fayetteville again, just because of it, kind of thing. We're gonna change that to our property search, and just gonna go through and do the same kind of thing. You can, we can hit filters, and there's all kinds of things.
Does
that we
off
can-
market mean that it's sold?
Well, you can choose what you want to do off market or for sold or for lease,
Oh,
that
okay.
kind of stuff. You can choose all the different types of property. You can go by price, you can go by type of home, you can go after condos, vacant land, folks who are absentee owners. Like I love doing absentee owners. Like the people that own property but don't live there. Well, I mean, are they more likely to sell? Yes or yes, especially if you have,
In this market, they might be.
yeah, it might be. No, we don't have any of those. So, let's go back to public records. There we go. So like there's 254. These are properties where they own the home, but they don't live there. So how likely are they to sell? Maybe, right?
You never know.
So, but you're able to go in and if you don't like that, you go in and you continue to make the changes that will help you narrow it down all the way through. And then it prints off the labels. Now, at the same time, you can do the exact same thing on commercial, and it does it the exact same way. So, you can prospect for buyer or seller clients doing the same process as what we just did.
Okay,
Does that make sense? Any questions on that?
interesting.
Now, I do have a couple of, let's see. All right, Josephine says, the subject property was a ranch. Looks like several of the comps were two-story homes. How do you compare them? You compare it based on square footage. Most of the time in a neighborhood, as long as the property fits in with the other homes in the neighborhood, it's going to be about square footage. So long as it fits within those square footages, we're going to try and match up to style of the home as often as we can. But most of the time, just based on the proximity is way more important than that. They want to use properties within the subject neighborhood. They wouldn't omit a two-story home within the square footage range of the subject neighborhood and try and go outside of that neighborhood to get a two-story home.
Oh, okay.
All right, so then I have another question that says you have to be a member of the realtors in order to access RPR, right? Because I was not able to locate a nerd for myself. Yes, you must be a member of the National Association of Realtors and your local board. And like here, I know we have some folks from out of state too on, but here it's going to be GAR, Georgia Association of Realtors. So you have to be on those also.
Okay.
All right. So we're back into here. So again, we can prospect for clients the exact same way on the commercial side of things and produce those same mailing labels, which actually we've had some agents that have had really good success because the commercial arena doesn't get nearly as much junk mail on that kind of thing. Let's talk about creating a residential property flyer. And so if you hit residential property flyer, so it gives me a property flyer. Now, of course, we're going to have a property. So, let's see. Oh, we could try our 212. Within a 212. Lee Trace? Yeah, well, normally you would do this once you actually had a property.
Mhm.
You can come in here and we could put in, we don't have any photos to use, that kind of thing. But, normally this is how our, most of the property flyers look.
Okay, that's good.
To where, well, honestly, I don't think it's that pretty. I mean,
I like the red flowers.
okay, well, I'm okay with you liking the red flowers, and I'm not saying not to like the red flowers, but generally speaking, this is not, in my opinion, a really slick looking property flyer. Just, this is a personal thing again, like my armpits, this is mine. I don't think the property flyers look that great on you. Now, if you don't have any property flyers, then this is a really easy way to do it. So it's better than nothing. I'm not knocking it. I just don't, it's okay. It's not terrible. It's just.
It might could have been that bad, that thing sold at $856.
Well, which is a shame. That's your flyer for that property, and so,
Oh, Lord.
So it makes you put in a name and a title, that kind of stuff. Now, this is not going to show up at all. I don't have photos. It's not a real listing, nothing like that. I'm just trying to kind of show you that these are out there and available for us to be able to do. You can do those both for commercial properties as well as residential properties. If you had a listing, it would be much easier to do it with, kind of thing,
Of course.
to have out there. So I don't know why it's taking 2 minutes to generate for a property that has no pictures, but hey, I don't control those kind of things. All right, I am going to launch the polling. So for those of you online, if you could, please fill out the poll. That's kind of our survey, and you can tell me anything good, bad, even if I repeat myself or my phrases several times anyway, that's okay. But I do try and improve the class all the time. I want to do a good job. So any kind of feedback you have, I really do take it to heart. I really hope that you've enjoyed the class today. I hope that you've gotten a whole lot out of it. I will try to address any other questions, and anybody else comes up with, I'll be here for a minute, and I'll also hang out and help you guys log in, that kind of stuff if you want to. But it is 12:28, so we are wrapping up like right now, kind of thing. Does anybody in here have any questions?
No.
No. And let's see. Well, I do have.
Oh, yeah, 3 more, yeah.
All right. So let's see. I've answered this one, so I'm going to dismiss that. I've answered this one, I'm going to dismiss that. All right. So just MLS is promoting a company that provides commercial information for a monthly fee. What is the advantage of paying for the service when we get so much information from RPR? Well, on commercial property in particular. So I'm not exactly sure which MLS that you're talking about or what service that you're speaking of, but like we here in the Atlanta market, we CoStar and LoopNet is probably one of the bigger commercial property listing services. Those run $250 to $500 a month to be able to access their database as well as all their property analytics and that kind of thing. If you are a full-time commercial practitioner, then that makes sense that is a necessary expense for your business. For most residential agents, that's not an investment most residential agents want to make. But this gives, and so that's where RPR can kind of fill that nice gap to take you, at least it puts your pinky toe in the door kind of thing. It's going to be a lot better than anything else that we have just readily available to us and accessible to us, but it's not going to be the end all be all either. It's also, but even if you go to CoStar and LoopNet, they're not the end all be all either. There's still a lot of people that don't list their properties anywhere. They're just trying to still work out those deals kind of behind closed doors. So it is a good tool for that. And honestly, I really like that piece. I love the analytical piece and being able to break down the information. I find that to be really, really strong. So, if commercial is one of those things that is a big piece of your business, then it's gonna make sense to invest in your business.
Mhm.
But if commercial isn't like your go-to, then I don't think it makes sense to spend that money personally. So I hope that answered it. It is 12:31. If you guys have any more questions, I'll leave this on for a couple more minutes and that kind of thing. But I really appreciate you guys coming out. Thank you so much for being online and continuing to get education. And if I can be of any service, Alan at Max One Partners, ALAN at max1partners.com is my email. You can shoot me an email. I'll be glad to help with anything that you need. No problem. No worries. So thank you guys. And I hope it was good.
It was. Mhm.
All right. If anybody's any more questions, throw it on here. Oh, well, thank you, Josephine. So, looks like we're wearing it down here. All right. We're gonna. Thank you, Charlene.